Welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I'm joined by regular co-host, Mr.
Andy Conduit. And hello, Ben. How are you?
All right, mate, how the devil are you?
I am the devil. Very good. Thank you
I
very
am the devil,
much.
very good.
For a
Um,
Monday, it's doing all right.
I'm glad to hear it, mate. Glad to hear it. But we are joined by a very special guest, somebody else, as last week with Mikkel, who we met at Screams by the Sea. We're making friends all over the place. Mark Walker is a writer, horror reviewer, and tarantula owner. Welcome to the show, Mark. Hello.
Hi, yeah, thanks. Thanks for inviting me. Good to be here.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
See you
Um,
again. I'm Bournemouth.
yeah, back
Yes.
down in Bournemouth. You had a good time down in Bournemouth, didn't you?
I had a cracking time, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, but I mean, not, yeah, it wasn't a bad first film festival to attend.
That's good. And Ben, I think I would never criticize your intro work, never ever, but you could add a little something to that next time. Award-winning, prize-winning
I should have
writer,
added
filmmaker.
that. Can we go
Because
back
that's
a
what
step?
I
happened.
should have had the award ready to hold it up.
Yeah, you
I've been
should. Have you
wearing
got
it
it?
around my neck.
Is it in arm's reach?
It's
Wearing it
under the
around your
bed.
neck, wearing it around your neck like Flavor Flav. I wonder how heavy
Could have
it is.
quickly nipped the
I've
downstairs
been
loo so
meaning
you
to
can
put
see
it
it. He
up,
sees it every day.
put it up on the shelf somewhere, but my
Yeah.
my kids are very good at slamming doors. So things often
Oh,
fall
I see.
in this room.
I
Yeah,
hope you've told. Oh wow, look at that.
Look at that.
it's a
Very,
it's a it's a really nice award
It's
actually.
a nice
it
award,
is.
like an obsidian obelisk. If
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was to find itself into caveman times, they wouldn't know what to make of it. They'd be crowding round it like an obelisk.
And as we're talking about a slasher, it'd make quite a good slasher weapon as well. I feel like if a slasher came into your office, heaven forbid, of course, it would be a good weapon to finish you off with.
I
Or
think
if you're
yeah,
going to accidentally kill someone in an EastEnders nightclub, that's how you do it with the Screams Fantasy Award.
Wait, are we talking
The Saskia,
ashtray?
that's right.
That's good. God, why does this come up? Why does this come up in my life so much? As a man who's probably seen 5 episodes of EastEnders, happens to be that one as well. Um, I hope, Mark, you've told your kids what a big deal you now are. Now you've got that award.
you say that as if you think they might care. You know, I don't think as long as as long as I can take them where they need to go in the car, I don't think they mind.
Well,
Whatever.
once they have to talk to your
Yeah,
secretary about organising that kind of lift
Oh
support,
yeah,
then they'll sit up and take notice.
there is that. Yeah, I've thrown it into a conversation a couple of times, just referred to myself as award-winning screenwriter, and
yeah.
they
Yeah.
just
So
roll
do you
their
want me to
eyes
come
and
and speak at your
start.
school anytime soon? Just inspire the youth of tomorrow.
Come on.
Yeah, I just don't think they'd have me. I'd be too embarrassed as dad
Well, they're not in charge of it,
wittering on. So
fortunately.
well, maybe I'll just volunteer. Just
Yeah.
Just
not
Get
volunteer
tell
your
them.
straight onto the
services,
board
mate.
of governors and say, look,
Just
put me in
turn up
charge of
one
the
day
English
when
department
invited.
by next week. You know what's good for you.
I know what time the assemblies are in the morning, so I could just rock up and
Oh, yes. I'd love that. Straight through the fire escape. Just-
Yeah. And because you obviously have been there, in the course of your parental duties, the layout perfectly. You can walk around there
yeah,
from parents' evenings. You know how it is. You carry a clipboard, no one's going to challenge you.
No.
and yeah, a clipboard and a pen. I'll be
And you
out of
can
them.
make a quick escape if you need to as well. See you later. Uh,
Yeah, I'm not sure how that'll go down, but I'll give it some thought. Yeah,
for anyone who's not aware though, anyone who didn't listen to our Screams by the Sea episode, Mark won the screenwriting competition. He had to pitch in front of the audience, and then the judges chose his pitch. I'm not going to ask you to do the pitch now, Mark, but did you want to just maybe briefly explain what your pitch was for your movie?
yeah. So it was about my slasher drive-in. It's basically my attempt to write just a classic down and dirty slasher, really, and introduce the projectionist as the antagonist for that film. Just get some teenagers in a drive-through. They've gone there for some nebulous reason. I can't even remember it myself. Something to do with
Yeah.
yeah, something to do with a school project. I think a history project. So yeah, they're in America. They go into a drive-in and they get trapped there. And this guy, he was a serial killer in the 50s, but was killed. But he's coming back. They all
Oh.
do that. You kill them, they
Mm.
come back. They want to come back. He's just, he's fed up with being trapped in his drive-in. So obviously, the best way to come back or to get back, to reclaim your life is to start killing teenagers. I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
yeah, it's just a good old fashioned, let's get a load of people in, well, one place and slowly kill them off one by one.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Or maybe not
lovely
all of them,
play
maybe.
out of a supernatural slashers playbook. If you want to come back, you've got to get a certain body count, not like that, Gen Zers. You just got to murder some people. The old-fashioned body count,
The old fashioned body count. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
OG body count. How many people you've murdered?
How did you find the process of doing the pitch there? Because I suppose it is strange to kind of like have something in your head or something that you've worked on for so long and you kind of feel like you know it inside out, but then as soon as you stand up in front of people, it's almost like you, well, me, for example, I've kind of just forget who I am, what I stand for.
yeah, no, it was pretty nerve-wracking to be honest. And I think I don't know whether they did it deliberately, but the pitch session was when the day started at about 9, and I think the pitches went at about 5. So it was a long day waiting
Yeah,
and to pitch. But just to be really boring for a second, I think, anybody that's thinking about doing something like this, it is about preparation.
yeah.
You've got to be prepared. You've got to know your pitch. If anyone, the classic elevator pitch that people talk about, if anyone ever, tried to get me to do that, I'd just be, traveling between floors, staring at my feet, mumbling something. Preparation is key for me. So, I'd been practicing a lot before we got down on Saturday, and I still forgot half of it anyway. But yeah, I think it went well.
It came across very well, Mark. Someone in the audience that was there watching, I think it came across very well. And I think also, owing that it was a big day and it was a big deal, I think it's a very good step by saying, hey, this is quite nerve-wracking, and owning that from the beginning, because then if anyone isn't a good audience member, it's them that sucks, not you. And that's what everyone remembers.
Well, yeah, being handed a joke about centaurs, that just made
No,
it.
yeah, you just ran with it, mate. I
Ben's
think you got a
finest
bigger,
hour.
yeah, you got a bigger laugh than the original joke, I think. So I'm not bitter
Oh
about
yeah,
that at all.
yeah. It was a really good day. It was a really good experience. I'd
Yeah,
I'm guessing, Radi will be furiously preparing for next year. So I would definitely recommend it as an opportunity for anyone that's writing as a screenplay. Get it in, get it
yeah,
submitted.
absolutely. It was fun.
Definitely worth.
It was good to be part of as well. But yeah, but around about with your alongside your screenwriting as well, Mark, you write horror reviews as well, and you've been doing that for a little while. How did you get into that?
Um, well, I guess I just like horror. I think when I started writing, I was thinking, you sort of think, well, I should have a website, and I don't know whether I should have a website, but I've got one now. And then you start thinking about content, and I saw a post. I think it must have been on X or Twitter, as it was, from Jim at Ginger Nuts of Horror looking for reviewers. So just sent him a sample over, asked him if he was looking, and he said yes, and that's kind of where I do most of the reviews for. So started off doing a few books and bits and pieces, and then just got into reviewing the films. So it's kind of a good way to get some screeners for some quite low budget films that you wouldn't
Mm,
necessarily hear about or see otherwise, or you'd stumble across on Shudder maybe late night, on a Saturday when you're
yeah,
slightly drunk trying to find something to watch. But yeah, so it's I'm never going to claim to be a genius reviewer or get too down and deep into what all the films mean and the symbolism and everything, but it's just about letting people know what you've enjoyed, what's been fun,
yeah.
things that you think
I
other people
think
enjoy.
those are the kind of reviews I think most horror fans want to read as well, aren't they? I mean, occasionally they like a deep dive into the symbolism and the thematics, but for the most part, it's like you just want a good recommendation for a good scary
What should I
film.
watch? Yeah.
What should I
Yeah.
watch exactly? Is it mostly new releases you do? Do you ever get a chance to go back to any of the classics, or is it mainly new releases?
I'll just whatever I've watched really.
Okay.
I did start a little series which I think got to about 2 because I haven't gone back to it about the films that made me, if you like. So
Oh
think of
yeah.
films that I was begging my mum to watch when I was about 10 years old, things like Horror Express and
Oh hell yeah.
Salem's Lot, Theatre of Blood being one
If
of my favorites that
if
that's
that's the case, then Mark, let's have a lovely segue into something we haven't done for a few weeks,
I
Andy.
was about to say exactly the same,
I
Ben.
don't
You've
know what's been
forgotten your
going
famous
on.
segment.
I don't know what's been going on, but for some reason, Mount Rush Horror has been a segment of the show which I've just
Say
forgotten
how you
about
normally say it,
for
please.
about 3 weeks. What do I normally say? Mount Horror Rushmore. Mount Rushmore Horror.
Yeah, you've got to try
Um,
and like take the vowels out of the last bit.
I do
Mount
try and do
Rush
that. I
horror.
would say we've been a bit loose with it as well. We've kind of said, oh, it can be horror characters or anything like that. Let's try and nail
Posters
it
when it was
down.
Neil.
Let's try and nail it down. What is it? Is it is it the 4 movies? Is it like the Letterboxd top 4?
I
Or
reckon you got to go for. I think it has to be like it would be a Mount Rushmore. Whose actual faces are you carving in there? Now they can be real humans that make. It can be a dog actually. I'm not limiting that. It can be real figures
yeah,
from horror, or it can be the characters they play. But you've got to have
figures,
physical people you
characters,
can carve in.
figures, characters, directors. I even reckon there could be like an object. I reckon an object could be, if we're really trying to be lax with it, a chainsaw.
That massive cock from Deathgasm.
Well, I wasn't the first thing my brain went to, Andy, but yes. Why not a massive cock from Deathgasm? Let's get it on there, get it carved.
As
So
opposed to the massive cock from A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Or the cock gun from you could have a mouth.
The cock gun from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
Not
Mount-
massive though, I would say. Quite modest in its
Little
size.
derringer of a pistol it is.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, who would you have on it, Mark?
You know, that's a question, isn't it? And I know whatever I say now, as soon as we finish recording, I'll think, oh, I should have said that.
I'll be sending Ben a voice note saying,
You can send me a
"Please
voice note. I
this
can edit
in."
it. I can edit
Edit it
in.
out. Edit it out.
We can use some AI to change the words you're saying. Maybe I don't know. No, we won't.
Okay, so let's think. So thinking about, the stuff as a kid that I wanted to. So probably, I'd have to put Mr. Barlow up there from Salem's Lot, just because the fact he scared the crap out of me. That was one of those ones that I begged and begged to watch, and I think it was. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, you're not too young to remember Points of View with Terry
Oh,
Wogan.
I remember Points
Oh,
of View
yeah.
very well.
Points of
And
View.
Robinson era less so than Terry Wogan in terms of
Yeah, no,
remembering the words you said.
I
The
think it's
original,
absolutely disgusting that that kind of thing.
I wish to complain on the strongest possible terms.
Yeah.
But they had, when they showed that, they showed a clip on Points of View of Mr. Barlow when he comes into the prison cell, and it's just that sort of jump cut with the violins
Oh
full
God.
face on the screen. And I've been begging my mum to see this, and I was sat on her lap, and that came on, and I nearly had a heart attack. So that scared the crap out of me. So it was a while before I actually got to sit down
Got
and
to see it in full.
So it was just that particular moment that sort of got you originally. from
Yeah,
Points
yeah,
of View.
just watching that clip.
Was it like a Sunday afternoon or something, like 4
Yeah,
p.m.?
I mean, Points of View was on. It wasn't on late, was it?
It was
No, it
on like
wasn't.
sort of just after maybe the sort of tea time Star Trek-y kind
Yeah.
of window, right? In a
Yeah.
little gap before something started,
Yeah.
something else started.
So it wasn't blood or gore. It was just that, that
Yeah.
face,
Mr. Barlow, and then in the film, clunking people's heads together to death.
That's the moment that I always see years before I ever saw Salem's Lot. The visual of it is him popping out like a little Jack in the Box in that kitchen, bonking the mum and dad's heads
Yeah.
together to death.
I guess it was just like the floating kid that was the iconic one for me. I mean, but yeah, he is a terrifying vampire.
And
isn't he?
just to explain it for anyone on the audio, if you're watching the video, you saw me look at Ben and smirk because the second you said Mr. Barlow, Mark, I immediately imagined Ben singing his name to the song of Mr. Crowley every time.
Mr. Barlow.
And you did-
What a lovely day. What was it he says, Mr. Barlow? Getting confused now. Gary Barlow I'm thinking of now. Sorry, Gary. That's only one though. Sorry, Mark.
that is only one, isn't it? Okay,
Yeah.
so
I'm
another
sketching
one.
him as we talk.
You're
Yeah.
sketching them. Yeah, do it.
Let's go with Lord Summerisle from Wicker Man. So that was
Oh,
another.
yes.
My mum wouldn't let me watch that because it was a bit pagan and Brit Eklund. So that was one of the ones where when you're growing up and you record a film on VHS, and your parents remember when my mum said, oh, you can't watch that, it's not for children. But they don't realize you can use the video
Yeah.
recorder well. So whenever they were out shopping or whatever,
Whoop.
stick it in, watch 10 minutes. It might take me a week or so to watch it, but did get through to see the Wicker Man eventually, probably a lot earlier than I should have done. But I think Lord Summerisle can go up there.
We watched it like it was a soap opera. I bet there were periods
Yeah.
of your childhood life was like, wonder if that policeman's going to shag the landlord's daughter. It would have been right if he had.
Yeah.
I was ahead of my time. That's how people watch films now, isn't it? It's like 15-second segments on TikTok.
Yeah,
Yeah, as the director intended.
Take a
absolutely.
month to watch a film exactly as as intended. But yeah, so Lord Summerall. That's just a classic. That again, yeah, my parents didn't like me watching these things.
Mm.
Let's have let's have one of the zombie Nazis from American Werewolf.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's a
those
good choice.
horrible
I like that.
pig-faced ones that burst
Horrible
into that
thing. Yeah,
house.
just that horror. It's that horrible dream within a dream segment where you get the crap scared out of you, and then you think it's okay, and Alex goes to open the curtains, and there's another one there, and they just keep
Oh
coming. They slaughter everyone, and
yeah.
again, it was another film that I begged to see. I think the first time I tried watching American Werewolf, I got probably not very far into it to be honest, and got a bit scared and gave up. But yeah, those zombie. I think they are zombie Nazis, aren't they? I think, or they're vampire Nazis.
Yeah, they're at
Yeah.
very least some kind of horrible
And I,
fascists. Not the
horrible
only
fa
one being, not the only one pitching for a place on Mount Mushmore and in the US at the moment,
Right
but
Mushmore.
real life horrors.
Did you say right Mushmore on purpose then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one more, Mark.
Oh, yes, you got me.
Gardener.
This is a good visual though already.
Are you sketching it, Andy? I feel like you're sketching it.
Yeah, I'm sketching it.
Yeah,
My pencil's a bit blunt, so I'll have to have another go at this, but I will do it.
the sticking bad. I'm gonna go with the that. Can I swear? That
Yes,
Yeah.
you
fucking
may.
clown from Poltergeist. Um,
Cat.
again, Poltergeist, the clown.
Oh, the clown. I was going to say
Yeah,
cat.
yeah.
Then I was like, what cat? The clown
No,
from
no, no.
Poltergeist.
I'm
Yes,
I'm
yes.
good. I'm good with cats, but yeah, nobody. No, no. I guess it's on the right theme. Clowns. Nobody likes clowns, really. If anyone says they like clowns, then they're just tripping. But
Yeah.
that was another one. I was on holiday with my parents, so again, about 8 or 9, at a holiday park in Great Yarmouth, and they had the old cable TV that was on showing a few movies, and Poltergeist was showing, and I begged to see it, and my parents wouldn't let me. And then my dad watched it, and then the following night came into the bedroom as we were going to sleep to tell us all about the scene where the tree comes in and grabs Robbie, the boy, and drags him
Yeah.
down. It's like, I'm not old enough to watch this, but you feel like, you want to terrify me 5 minutes before you're going to turn the light off, plunge me into darkness, and expect me to go. So
I'm
again,
going to
yeah,
tell you
Robbie,
things. I'm going to tell you about this film and give you the only cinema more powerful than anything Spielberg or Toby Hooper can create. The human mind, the
The
imagination of a
human
child.
mind.
good
Watch
night.
out for clowns under your bed, little Mark, because that's what we would have
Oh.
called you at the time.
Yeah.
Bye.
It's
So,
a
yeah,
good selection though. Four villains as well. I like that.
yeah, there we go. They're just the ones that I remember as a kid that, did scare the willies out of me. And when I did
Yeah.
eventually get to see Poltergeist, I think it still stands up today.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah,
a
absolutely.
great film.
100%. It's up there,
That
isn't
clown
it?
bit's particularly horrible. The only saving grace to make it even slightly less horrifying in the modern age is when, in your mind, you confuse it with the parody of it from the Scary Movie sequel.
Yeah, it's easy enough to do. I do that a lot, unfortunately. Um, I like it. What a nice cross section of horror. We have to do that eventually, Andy. I know I always say it, but we need to
And we
put
should do a
ours together.
bonus episode, Ben, where we do it, and
Yeah,
we'll sketch them in advance, and then we can make them
get
the
them
backgrounds.
sketched, mate. Okay, so next part of the show we'll be talking about horror news. A couple of bits that I've seen this week. Of course, feel free to chip in with anything else you've seen as well. But a few more trailers. It's going trailer crazy out there. We've got a trailer for The Conjuring Last Rites. So the fourth Conjuring movie. Apparently, it's the last case, the terrifying final case for the Warrens. Don't know if you've seen this trailer. It's out. When is it out? But anyway, so it's the last one. I think
Summer?
James Wan is directing this. It's out on September the 5th. Sorry, my web page was not scrolling down then. How rude. And yeah, did anyone see this trailer? Anyone avoid it? No one
I've
bother?
seen it.
You saw
I
it?
haven't seen it. No.
What's going on? Great, because on the thumb, I haven't watched it yet, but on the thumbnail, there's like some sort of weird face. What's going on there? Is that like a painting come to life again, just like the nun?
You get all of your Conjuring classics, Ben. You get little appearance from Valak, the nun who just was.
Mm.
in the painting again. You know, you get the normal bits, a bit like them. Which of the it's not a Conjuring, it's an Annabelle one. There is an Annabelle film that is almost like an anthology where there's
Oh yeah,
several
yeah,
haunted
yeah.
items that just all get someone for a bit of a set piece.
Mm.
And you see them, it's going to the Warrens' famous House of Spooky Things. It's like, right, don't mess with anything in this house because all of it's haunted or cursed. You see Valak, you see Annabelle, more cameos than Stan Lee these days. She's in it again as a little bit of a
Yeah.
wink at the camera. And then, we just go into the setup for the movie itself, their final mystery, and they do there's lots of people talking about what their career is. I do know a little something. I didn't quite spot her in because I heard the news after the trailer watch, and I don't know if she's in the trailer. Apparently she's in the film. Rebecca Calder from Broken Bird, isn't it?
Oh really? Oh
I
right,
believe
okay.
so.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I see. Now I see. Yeah, interesting. Well, that's cool. So yeah, apparently this is the ninth installment in the Conjuring universe, wrapping up phase one and setting the stage for phase two. Like
Do they really
Marvel,
say that?
it
Not
really
just the
says
end.
that in the description. I'm not joking. How, Mark, how do you feel about these films? Any of these you like?
Do you know, I don't think I've seen all of them. Certainly seen the first two.
The
Yeah,
second one's great. I really like the second
Yeah.
one.
second one's good.
And
Yeah,
it's a series I definitely want to revisit with the kids.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I didn't realize there was that many.
yeah. I know. I've not seen the
Quite
Annabelle
a lot.
movies. I've
I
seen
suppose, yeah,
everything
if yeah,
else.
thinking, yeah. So there's it's the Conjuring universe, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the cut,
so it
the
must
Conjuring.
include the three existing Conjurings, the three Annabelles, and then is
Annabelle
La Llorona in
creation.
there?
Say again?
Is La Llorona in there as well? Not
I
the
don't
one
think that's
that's
a official one now. The Nun and the Nun
oh, the
2.
nun, of course.
That's right, yeah.
Valak
I think the
Origins.
Conjuring are probably. I'm not seeing the Annabelle one, so I can't judge. But I think the Conjuring ones are like the really good ones. The spin-offs are the ones that I never really enjoy. Well, the Nun not so much. Conjuring 2 though is great. It's about the Enfield haunting.
Yeah, it's really
Um,
good. And I
yeah,
like the thing about the Conjuring 2, I think quite scary, like good ghost effects. There's the Crooked Man is in it briefly. That's quite a scary bit with the little
yeah.
fella that just comes in and tries to take him. And then we get the nice moments as well, like Patrick Wilson doing some lovely Elvis, playing some
Oh
music,
yeah.
being like a nice
So
family
Insidious is
moment.
just totally unrelated to this stuff, right? It
Yeah,
really crosses
completely
over in my
unconnected.
brain. Maybe
It's
that's
because
my.
Patrick Wilson's also in it.
That's what it's confusing though, isn't it? Because they are very similar, and Patrick Wilson's also in it.
And you feel like the Conjuring Lin Shaye could literally turn up in any
Yeah,
at any moment, and she
I wouldn't
doesn't,
be
as far as I'm
confused by
aware.
that. No, exactly. Anyway, September the 5th, I'll be seated for it. We'll be watching it. I'm sure we'll do an episode on it as well. But I believe for some reason, based on, with us covering new releases and stuff, we did cover the third release, didn't we? But I don't
Yeah,
think
we
we
did. The
ever,
bloody devil made me do it.
but I don't think we ever actually officially did the second one.
To get back, second
Let's
one,
go back.
still in my opinion, still the best one.
Fill in the blanks. Okay. I think I've mentioned this on the show already, but now we've got a trailer for a movie called Dangerous Animals, which is a
Yeah.
film about a serial killer who feeds people to sharks. Have you seen this?
Not seen the trailer, but I do not need to. I'm into it.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think you need to. It's Jai Courtney, isn't it?
Jai Courtney himself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jai Courtney. Um, I'm getting up. Loads of stuff is just frozen on my screen, Andy, so you might have to go and get the details from me. But
Right,
Jai Courtney, he's
let's get the
like
trailer for Dangerous Animals up.
he's just need the release details if possible. He's a new ocean predator, and it's not the sharks. He looks absolutely hench in it as well, with a lovely, lovely curly mop of hair on his head as well. So he looks, I would say, not unrecognizable, but not how he usually is with his old skinhead and stuff.
Sean
Um,
Byrne, it is. It's The Ocean Leaves No Trace. A savvy and free-spirited surfer abducted by a shark-obsessed serial killer held captive on a boat. She must find out how to escape before he carries out a ritualistic feeding to the sharks below. It is due. Oh, its premiere, Ben. Its premiere is the 17th of May, end of this week
oh, that's
in
the premier. It's,
in Cannes
it
in
says theater
in
6th of June.
yeah, theatre
So
6th of June.
interesting. I mean, it sounds pretty cool. Some of the like alternative posters they've released have been like a hook with like a little lock of somebody's hair on each one, as if like he's done this before. He's killed bloody people in the same way. I think like
Quite cruel though, feeding sharks hair.
oh god. I think there's a bit in the trailer. Again, I've not watched the trailer, but I saw some descriptions, where he's like there's a couple on their honeymoon or something going to swim with sharks, and he just like I don't know lets them out or locks them in or I don't know how it works. Who knows? But it's interesting. It's an interesting premise for a film, and I'd definitely be into that.
Love a shark movie.
I'd watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the last piece of horror news is something that you mentioned earlier in the week, Andy. I saw you post about it. Is that heavy metal horror comedy Deathgasm, which you've already mentioned on the show already, when Emma Cownley joined us for that episode, which was obviously a very fun time. But another connection to the show as well is it's being made by Freak Zone Games. That's right, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah, it's
Is
got a hand in that.
Deathgasm.
Sam, who joined us for our Toxic Avenger episode, along with John Locke, um, he's part of the team that's making it.
Yeah, so there's going to be a retro style 16-bit side scroller for PlayStation 5 and an 80-page graphic novel that will serve as a prelude to the long awaited upcoming sequel, Deathgasm 2, Gormageddon. I mean, how
Don't think the
exciting, right?
Kickstarter, the crowdfunder is not live for it yet, but you
No.
can sign up for updates if that's tickled your fancy and you're listening along and you like a video game or a graphic novel. Get
Yeah.
yourself on there, get notified when it launches, get it backed, and get yourself a little download code.
The cover looks great as well. It looks a bit Golden Axe, isn't it?
Yeah.
The cover. So yeah.
And Sam does a good turn on like a retro style 16-bit or even 8-bit if you're so inclined, like
Yeah.
like scrolling beat 'em up. So hope it has that kind of vibe to it when it comes together.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Very exciting. Looking forward to that. That's all I got for news.
I got a couple of cheeky little bits for you that I can just slide under
How
the
cheeky
door.
are we talking here?
Pretty cheeky.
Let's have a
One
look.
one little bit of news. Friend of the show, Andy Edwards, he has launched his new film. It's getting under production. Given
Nice.
his success with telling us, stories, a bit of lore, a bit of fables and mystery, his new film, Fairy Dust, looks very promising. Lots of other folks we're familiar with from the UK horror scene as well, including Bella Rich, who was, of course, still working on their upcoming production, The Death of Us, as well. Looks really exciting. I think Andy's work has continued to grow in scale and success. So I will be looking forward to seeing that. They're also crowdfunding right now on IGG. So if that takes your fancy, if you've enjoyed Rumpelstiltskin or his previous releases like Punch, go and check that out. And
Absolutely.
finally, a little bit of news, but I thought I'd give a little prop. I think we've served as a little bit of inspiration, Ben. A few weeks back when we got together with Rich Rose and talked about Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, he obviously took a look and thought one of two things. Either what inspiring messaging and joy you can bring with podcasting, or you took away the message. If these two can do it, then I can certainly. Rich,
There's
alongside
probably
his
that.
partner, have launched a podcast, a movie-related podcast, not competitors necessarily, because they're not talking about horror movies straight up. It's called My Partner Has No Taste, and it's in which Rich and his partner, they take it in turns to choose a movie that the other one has refused to watch with them. They force them to watch it for the purposes of content and then discuss it afterwards. They're both
Yeah.
professional comedians. It's very funny. Big recommend. It is, you're on one of those great golden hours. It's not like a Breaking Bad situation when someone recommends you watch something and you have to be in Mark's situation and catch up with 300 odd episodes or make your choices. They are 5 episodes in. They tend to run for about 45 to 50 minutes, around the hour mark at tops. Really
Ideal.
good. Really, really sharp
Ideal.
stuff. Funny people, good podcast, and we like them. So go and give them a check out. Give them some support. Won't cost you
Absolutely.
anything.
That sounds lovely. There we go then. Nice. So what we've been watching, anything that we've seen in the last 7 days or so, that we'd like to recommend. Of course, Mark, you're not on the show every week, so feel free to recommend anything you've seen in the last few months or anything that's coming up that maybe you're excited for. Is anything taking your fancy recently?
I haven't watched anything new. Yesterday I watched Mads, which I think you mentioned on the
Yeah, we
podcast,
did mention it, didn't we?
possibly,
Yeah.
just because it sounded intriguing, the whole, one shot idea. I'm not convinced it was entirely one shot, but it was very, very well done. Yeah,
Yeah. It
it's a
is one of.
really
Sorry,
sorry,
go on.
man.
No, go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, no, it's a really good film. I'd recommend it. I know it's probably gonna frustrate some people because there's no real, there's no character arc or development like that. It's just, straight out zombie, not really zombies either, but
Yeah, zombie,
some sort
some
of
sort of.
infection,
Yeah.
lots of chasing. But yeah, the way the story follows the main three characters and changes between them is, yeah, it's really well done. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Maybe, and again, maybe not one shot, but if it is one shot, impressive, right?
Well, even if it's three shots,
Even if it's
it's
three shots,
still
yeah, yeah, yeah,
really
yeah,
impressive.
yeah.
And some of the stuff when it's changing between cars, or there was one point a
Yeah.
girl's trying to escape on a moped of some description, and it's just really well done. So it's
Yeah.
definitely worth a view. Um, and yeah, and just catching up. What I've been doing a lot recently is catching up with some old favorites with my youngest, who's getting into horror as well. So
Oh
I
wow.
introduced her to Funny Games last week.
Oh
Oh,
nice.
you started them
Oh wow,
soft then,
yeah.
eh?
Start off nice and soft, and it's just it's the I mean, they're both really good. We watched the original, the Hanukkah 97 one, as opposed to his
Mm.
remake.
I've only seen
You
the
know,
original. I've not seen the
Have you
English
not?
language. No.
I'm pretty sure I've seen both. Yeah.
yeah, actually they're both really good films. The remake, it is literally, because we watched the 97 version, then I was flicking through the remake with her to show her, shot for shot. It's almost
It's exactly the
identical.
same way. Yeah, that's good.
So actually, either works really well. But yeah, the original's just that, it's got that special place in my heart, and I wanted to make sure she saw it before anybody, spoiled some of those special moments that seem to upset a lot of people.
How
I went
how
back
old is
and
you? How old is your youngest? Did you say?
she's 17 now, so
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I'm not completely,
I'd
corrupt.
say
8 years
8.
old.
Yeah, because my daughter's 15, and I've kind of like been trying my best as well to get her into some horror, and it's not been going too well at the moment. I don't think she's got the attention span yet, but she watched Talk to Me, and she enjoyed that. So yeah, I would like to go and get her to. Sometimes I kind of like tell her about films. I guess similar to the way you just explained your dad did telling you about Poltergeist. I
Come in
tell
and
her
say,
about
right,
a
there's a
film.
bloke called Freddy Krueger. And if you even think about him for a second before you go to sleep, he'll get you. Well, good night.
I just tell her like something interesting about a film, and then try and get her to go, "Oh, I'd like to see that."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not
I
really
mean,
been
some of
working.
those, like Talk to Me, they're quite a good introduction because they're not. Actually, I suppose Talk to Me is quite violent in places, isn't it?
It is, I know.
Yeah,
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 it's a
brutal.
quite
very brutal.
quite
Yeah,
harsh, but
and very
yeah,
scary.
we just my wife saw The Exorcist when she was 10, so I think we can
Yeah.
say introduce them to. Well, actually, we haven't watched The Exorcist with her yet. I think that's what's still on the pile. But
Mm.
yeah, just working through some of the old classics, and things like The Wicker Man, and just getting her, The Shining, all those sorts of classics, and getting her into it. So, I
Oh
mean, she
yeah.
keeps watching them. I don't know, maybe she hates them, but she's
Just
just
like
trying.
spending time with you, Mark. That's what it
It's
is.
just it's
She
too
goes
late
home and
now.
says, oh,
She's
I'll tell you what, my
completely
dad
corrupt.
makes me watch
Yeah.
some real shit, but I love him. So
But yeah, and then she just has to put up with me being, a bit of a dick about things like funny. Because I went back and I was having a look at some of the reviews on IMDb and Letterboxd with funny games, and it does polarize people. There's a
Yeah.
lot of there's a lot of reviews giving it a really low score, saying it's really boring, nothing happens, you don't see any gore, nothing happens on screen, and it's like you've just proven Haneke's point there, which suggests to me that it's the perfect film. But yeah,
yeah.
it's that was one I told my dad to watch. He got me into Poltergeist. I told him to watch that, and he hated it. So
It's really interesting that that would be the negative. Like I could almost understand more a negative reaction to that being this is too mean-spirited to be entertainment. You know what I mean? I think it's a deeply like it's it's a very good film. The difference between something being unpleasant is not the same as it being a bad movie. Like it's a film that I watched, and it was one that you sat quietly after you watched it for a minute and thought, people are horrible, aren't they? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
deeply disturbing
brutal
movie,
film.
but I'm not
Yeah.
sure how anyone can away and say, oh, nothing really happens.
Yeah, it's a strange one, but everybody's different, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
makes the world go round. But yeah,
Um,
so that's a couple of films I watched recently.
I've got a couple of things to mention. I will mention first off, so I rewatched a film called Dead Girl, and the reason I rewatched that is because Encyclopocalypse Books have released a novelization of the book Dead Girl. Got it here, written by Bridget Nelson. And I've just
Red Sonja?
not read Sonja, Bridget Nelson, not Nielsen. Um, did anyone see Dead Girl? So I remember watching Dead Girl like when it came out. I think it's 2009. So I remember watching it like alone. It was definitely one of those films where you go, probably shouldn't watch this with someone because it is quite dark. I guess like funny games it is definitely a film that polarizes people. People definitely seem to be like, this is outrageous, this is disgusting, and other people were like, well, it's a lovely coming of age story about adolescence and masculinity, which I guess it is. Has anyone seen this?
Never seen Dead
Mm.
Girl,
Does anybody know what it's about? I don't want to give anything away, but I mean,
I
I guess this is the
is
crux
it
of
the
it.
is it the necrophilia one?
Ish, ish. So, two teenagers they go into like an abandoned mental asylum, and they end up going into like the basement and like digging really deep into all of these closed doors that are like rusted shut and everything, and they find a woman just naked and tied up down there on a hospital gurney. But she's a zombie or some sort of zombie, and then they start basically. Well, how can I describe it other than teenage boys? What would they potentially do if they were given the opportunity to have a? Yeah, it's very, very
A
dark.
teenage boy, going to my own experience there. Teenage boy found a
Yeah,
girl
I'm
that
not
couldn't move or get away. I think probably
call the police,
show my Pokemon that I got there. Say, check out this team.
but it
People
is.
talk about catching them all. I've done it, mate, this period of time. Let me show you him.
Yeah, all right, maybe a very unwell teenage boy, where adolescence and puberty is taking hold. Yeah, so basically that they do some horrible things to her, and then it just develops into just a really horrible situation. Starts as a horrible situation, gets worse.
Okay.
I decided to watch the film first, just because I kind of wanted a bit of um a sort of jolt to the memory so I remember what it's about, because a lot of the book is about how the girl came to be there, which you don't get any of at all in the film. So I'm interested to see and to find out more, because that was kind of something I always wondered, because it never delves into her identity or like anything really to do with how she got there at all. It is just a story of these lads and the lengths they will go to for some level of intimacy with someone, if they're alive or dead, I guess. Yeah, so there's loads of interesting themes with it, like obviously, in terms of consent and stuff like that. So it was a very polarizing film. Again, you even look at Letterboxd and people are either going half a star, disgusted, the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, and other people are going, this is actually really, really interesting.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I recommend it though. I think it's definitely something worth checking out. Um, yeah, so there's that. And then I did also watch Doctor Sleep, the director's cut, for the first time since I saw the film in the cinema. And the director's cut is about 3 hours. And because it's been a number of years, the film came out in 2019. I couldn't necessarily remember everything about it, and I read the book as well. So like my idea of like what happens in the film is all a bit muddled. So watching this 3 hour long version of it didn't necessarily feel like it was bloated. It kind of just felt like the story. Um, but yeah, all the stuff at the Overlook is the best. I feel like it's the best version that any film has ever gone back. You know, when films like return somewhere, I'm trying to think of like, I don't know, Metal Gear Solid 4 when you go back to Shadow Moses Island. It's amazing. It's amazing. But when they go back to the Overlook in this, it is. I feel like it's just perfect. I know we get some stuff in the Overlook in Ready Player One, isn't it? Um, but yeah, I think this film's great. Do you guys both like this film?
I've never seen Doctor Sleep, Ben.
Have you
Uh,
not?
no, I never got around to it,
Oh
and
man,
one day I will.
you have got to watch Doctor Sleep. Watch the director's cut as well because it is good. I feel like if you're a fan of The Shining, it's like there's a moment in this film. I mean, Mark, have you seen it?
I was just gonna say you're in good company, Andy, because I haven't
Yeah.
seen it
Oh, you
either.
haven't seen it either?
Yeah,
No,
I need to
Man,
see it. Like
there is.
nothing makes it
it's
harder for me to approach a film by knowing it's than knowing it's long. Because I'm like, well, how much
yeah,
time
Well, you
have
don't
I
have to
got?
watch the director's cut. You can just watch the normal version.
Okay,
no,
I'll
you
just
do
watch.
have
How
to
It's
long's
much
that?
tighter. Probably like 2 hours and a bit.
watch it on fast forward.
There is a moment, right? Watch it and fast forward. There is a moment, and I'll tell you this moment because I don't think it's a spoiler. But there's a moment where you realize that the Overlook Hotel, they're going to go back to it, and it like replicates the opening shot from the film with that sort of like shot across the lake and then onto the road. It replicates that, but like in the dead of night, with the
Okay,
same music and the same shot with like the car driving, and it's like goosebumps all over you, sort of stuff. It's just like,
it's been a
oh
number
hell
of
yeah,
years since I've seen The Shining though, so I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do that bit of
I'll do that
homework
as well.
first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Double
Um,
double up those.
the director's cut feels a bit more. It's more paced like the book because um, do you even know the story of it or
Yeah,
what it's about?
I've read the book,
Oh, you've read
but
the book. Okay, there
yeah,
we go. Yeah.
I've
So
listened to
Danny,
you and Luke talk about it back in the day,
oh, you
Ben, so I
have.
know I know blow for blow what happens, but I've
Oh,
forgotten
yeah.
by now.
Danny Torrance, grown up, alcoholic. There are a load of like steam sucking, almost vampires, kind of like energy vampires, going around sucking the shining out of people. Um, oh, it's great. It's great because I mean, Stephen King obviously famously didn't like the Kubrick version, but and it's directed by Flanagan. What's his name? Mike Flanagan.
Like Flanagan.
At least said Mickey Flanagan then. Entirely different film. Um,
Danny Torrance talking
I,
about going
I,
out
f- I
out.
feel like it's the best thing he's done. Like
Okay.
a lot of people like his series, but I feel like this is the best thing he's done. And after watching it was one of those films where I'm like, it's probably like for me like an 8 out of 10, or maybe like you know, but now I think it's going up. It's like almost approaching levels of The Shining for me in terms of how good it is. I mean, it's not as iconic, obviously, but
does it follow the book?
it follows the book. But of course, obviously, as it follows the book, the Overlook doesn't exist in the book, but because this is a sequel to the film, the Overlook does exist. So that's the only difference, I
Yeah.
think. Only major difference. So obviously other differences, but it's the only major difference. But yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll
yeah,
get onto it.
immediately.
Sorry guys, gotta go.
What about you, Andy? Anything you've seen?
Well,
Well, well, well.
first unconnected item I've watched, but I'm gonna share it. I watched French movie that was on at what festival was it? I didn't catch it at the festival, but I finally managed to catch Smoking Causes Coughing.
Oh yeah.
Very much
Okay.
my shit, Ben. A silly horror comedy sort of psycho gourmand type effects and so on. It's low budget. There is their boss who the cigarette squad, the tobacco force rather, are a superhero Power Rangers like team who are very anti-smoking but use the damage of health caused by cigarettes to defeat their enemies. In an opening scene, you see them use all the powers of their names are like tar, nicotine, benzene and things like that. And they use that when their powers combine, Planeteers style, they make a big sort of Power Rangers level monster, like a big man in a rubber suit, explode with terrible cancer. So
Jesus.
that's how it begins. But unfortunately, their team has not been working very cohesively recently. So he sends them their boss, who is a sort of round the bend style horrible puppet and a rat who constantly drools like green gunge, sends them on a retreat somewhere. And while they're on a retreat, they're like very Wes Anderson style, get sort of layered stories within stories that they're sharing around a campfire to scare each other. Um, it's very weird, very much my cup of tea. I loved it. Um, So that was Smoking Causes Coffee, also French. So absolutely
You're absolutely
100%,
into it, man. You
absolutely
love
into
the
it.
French, don't you?
Then, before I, of course, get on to the main event of the week's watching, everyone's update they're waiting for, I did some thematic watching and playing and listening all together after I'd seen the news shared on the socials that ever so quietly, ever so sneakily, those baddies at Netflix, not in the modern sense, in the sense that actually they've done something naughty. Um, those baddies over at Netflix are quietly retiring Bandersnatch from the
Oh yeah, yeah,
platform.
I did hear that.
By the time you listen to this, everyone, I believe it might be too late. I think it's going today at time of recording, unless it's had some sort of reprieve. And I'd never got around to watching it back in the day, so I sat down this weekend and had a good old mess with it. And wasn't it fun? I think maybe it got some criticism for maybe not being as detailed or as customizable as people perhaps wanted it to be based on its promotion. But I think it's incredibly clever. I think it's incredibly well done. I think Charlie Brooker and the wider team that work on those things are really smart. And I think mechanically, it's a very cool swing that should be celebrated in a time when Netflix and other streaming platforms are directly commissioning and designing written content and filmed content to be acceptable to watch on a second screen when you're not really paying attention to it, which is why there's now so much repetition and audio description of I am just cooking some spaghetti. When that's being done, having something which requires you to pay attention and requires you to engage with it and interact with it and
Yeah.
make choices and be not only is it a branching pathway, but the very fact that the narrative relies on you having died at some points and then come back to life with knowledge of what would happen there, and it can change some of the choices. I think it's incredibly smartly made. It's to my great shame that I didn't catch up with it beforehand, and I'm very glad I caught it before it left the platform.
I remember
Hope I see
enjoying
it
it.
go
I remember
somewhere
enjoying
else.
it. Yeah. Sorry.
Why do you
Yeah.
think they have dropped it though? I mean, why did Netflix drop anything, to be honest? But
Yeah. Why have they dropped that? Because they haven't got rid of the rest of it. So why have they got rid of that one?
Not sure if it's bandwidth or the capabilities. Maybe they're changing. I think they're dropping a lot of other interactive
Oh right.
things in other, in other senses as well. Whether I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the purposes are.
Mm.
Maybe they're planning to relaunch it with something else. Maybe there is another platform that hasn't been. We mergers and acquisitions again, but it'll be corporate synergies all over again. There'll be someone else that'll put it out. But I wanted to catch it, not knowing what was going to happen. So I'm really glad I did.
Mm.
And then I got sort of went down a bit of a rabbit hole of other narrative experiences which speak to changing realities and reward sort of multiple goes over. I'm just going to rattle through these very quickly. I watched Happy Death Day, which I'd seen the sequel
Nice.
to, but never this original. It's very good. I enjoyed it a lot. I played the Stanley Parable.
Do I
It's
know what
that
that
one
is?
where there's a narrator that's describing everything that a man does. And it's like he went to his boss's office and then you walk up there. That is really smart and really fun. Semi-horror coded, you know, sort of horror Twilight Zone short story-ish, where he suddenly steps up from his office cubicle and everyone else in the world is gone.
Mm.
I watched Netflix original sort of 80s coded video game horror, very Bandersnatch adjacent, Choose or Die.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Choose or Die, and then I finally, just to complete the set, listened to a wonderful episode of the Other Stories, popular podcast about short fiction. I listened to an episode about that on deja vu and alternate realities called "To Thine Own Self Be True." It is a story by a talented, young, and handsome author called Andy Conduit Turner.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it tells a story, particularly rewarding if you know the rest of his oeuvre. Lots of little callbacks to other things, lots of warping reality. So much so, I think it's the first time the show had to employ two editors to put the story together
Oh yes.
when it
Make
came down
make
to
them
the
earn their
audio
money,
editing.
right?
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. Give that a listen, everybody.
Oh
Some of
yeah,
my
definitely.
proudest work.
Oh, do it.
So I had that lovely branching narrative piece, but of course there would be no reality where I wouldn't be sitting here with you today, where I hadn't also watched another episode of my favorite series, Friday the 13th television series.
You've been on it. What does that represent? The fact that you've been watching all these narrative things and playing narrative things where you control your destiny, trying to reclaim control in your life somehow.
Yeah, I think in a world where we perhaps have less control than ever
Yeah.
over the fates that befall us, and I think we all feel a lot out of control with, global events and so on, having a situation where sometimes you can ultimately change the world, and then sometimes it doesn't matter because there's an infinite number of realities where I am
Yeah.
literally a Haribo gold bear and everything's great. And chicken nuggets fall from the sky and are good for you. They're basically
And a good for you.
penicillin.
There we go. But yeah,
Yeah.
what was it? What was the latest episode?
So the latest episode is an episode called Tattoo. And in this episode, a young man with a crippling gambling addiction and some debts, he finds himself in possession of some cursed tattoo needles. And when he uses
Such a
them,
specific thing to curse.
yeah, when he gets hold of these and he tattoos something on somebody, the tattoo comes to life and kills them, and that
Penny
the
Crayon.
sacrifice yeah, penny crayons then. The sacrifice leading to their death transfers to good fortune for him, allowing him to become a big shot gambler.
Jesus.
Um,
It's a very specific, complex thing to
it is
get involved in.
it is a brutal episode, but one I deeply enjoyed. I love
Did
the
anyone
effects.
have mum tattooed on that
No
one?
one has mum tattooed. The first thing that gets tattooed is horrible, like a stag beetle, which
Oh,
goes inside a lady who's been chained up by the previous owners of the cursed items. And then once our young fellow steals them, he tattoos a big tarantula,
Yeah.
thematically accurate,
oh,
on a lady passed out in an opium den. And then that gets her. And then he also tattoos. I'm not sure I saw the second tattoo, but bearing in mind this was like a like a primetime television show. I'm not sure it's primetime or slightly later at night. But a man who he tattoos, he tricks into letting him give a tattoo. Demonic arms burst out from within his skin and then break his neck,
God.
tear him
Can
apart.
you leave a good review for us, please, on Google? I
Yeah.
did a great tattoo. Oh no.
And then finally, we get a coral snake when he's gone completely bad and he does it to a member of his family. And the guy's grandfather, who's very concerned about him and calls in our heroes, Mickey, Ryan, and Jack. You never guess who he is.
A relation.
That's right, his relation, the young addicted gambler's granddad. Um, he's only the old man from Gremlins.
Oh, right. Okay.
The old man from Gremlins, and he sees what the gang are up to, and he actually gives them a not cursed antique that's been passed down through his family that helps them
Is that how he said it when he
win the
gave it
day
to you? He said,
ultimately.
"Here's an antique. It's not cursed." Because
He said,
I
"Here's
hardly
like
believe you.
it's like got good omens and good fortune
Yeah.
imbued upon it, and it helps the guy save the day." But once again, what I love about Friday the 13th, the series, is it's got that Law and Order vibe to it, where sometimes you have to sit down and sigh because you don't win. But ultimately, a lot like early Friday the 13th things, people who are bad, they tend to get punished and undone by these cursed
Yeah.
items. A bit like that man who ultimately fell into the mulcher that converted you into your net worth in cash.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
he is hoisted by his own petard, ultimately, when he gets pulled into a big, high stakes gambling game. He thinks, what's this? Another game of cards? Maybe a dash of dominoes? No, Russian roulette.
Oh, that's the worst.
And
That's the
and
worst
you
gambling
just
game.
get, I mean, spoilers for a series released in 1987, everybody. But ultimately, when Mickey is watching on, she's just managed to walk into this game of Russian roulette, and she's watching it from the sidelines. And the curse is about to eke out. His A member of his family has had a coral snake tattoo come to life on her, and it's edging close to biting her and killing her. Jack uses the Good Omens artifact to blow a needle into the snake and kill it, avoiding the death. And the guy blows his own brains out in the game of Russian roulette. There we
Oh,
go. Mad.
happy ending all round
Absolutely
then.
Yeah, and the family have actually moved on. They come and see the guys at the end. They do like a big Thundercats laugh after they say, "Oh, we're all mates, aren't we?"
We're all
I
best
mean, a member of
friends.
our family has died, but he was crippling addicted to gambling and tried to kill us with a magic tattoo needle. So,
Yeah.
Every
um,
cloud.
good
Every cloud
riddance.
indeed, yeah.
Um,
You did
I
also
love this
discover
series.
the music career of one of the leads as well, didn't you?
Yes, Louise Roby, or she's just credited as Roby in this. She has apparently it's a remake of a single called One Night in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Um, prior to
You-
the series, I'm getting into all of their previous work. Do you know the series executive producer is also responsible for the Species franchise?
No, I didn't know that, but I'm
Do
glad I
you
do
do
now.
now? And the extra tidbit I have for you today is
Yes.
I assumed that Friday the 13th, the series, was just an artifact of of television, forgotten by most, never really that popular. I saw a little bit of information on Louise Roby's Wikipedia today. When it was first running in its opening series, it was the second highest rated syndicated program on TV at the time, only behind Star Trek.
Oh, wow.
So in those alternate universes we were talking about earlier, there is one where there are conventions of people going to beloved series, Friday the 13th, the series, and no one remembers what Star Trek is.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to
Oh
bring
my
this
God.
back, Ben. I'm determined, more so than ever. I'm sort of sitting there watching an episode, I'm preparing to come and talk to the two of you fine folks today, and I'm thinking, I could do a special episode series about this. I could really deep dive into this, and it could be the
You could.
renaissance of this program. And then at
And
some point, people will be like, what was it that resurrected the anthology series that
it
people
was
have
Andy
now
Condio
overtaken in
Turner.
popularity from the X-Files? They put, it's that guy who did that podcast series.
That guy, Andy Condio Turner. Come on.
Yeah,
There we go.
I love this program. Again, what I will say to everyone who reads, struggles to read the tone, it is objectively bad, but that's what I love about it. I love about it the most.
Yeah.
And I will continue to watch it. Join us next week for episode 17? Yes,
Oh wow,
episode
man. You're
17.
making some serious
Episode
headway on it.
17. You want the title as a little preview?
Go on.
I don't know anything about it, so I'll take your guesses about what it might be about. I want your guess of what the cursed item is going to be. Series 1, episode 17. The Electrocutioner.
An electric chair. A cursed.
Yeah, that's the first thing, isn't it? That it's going to be something odd, isn't
Electrocutioner.
it? Like
It's gonna be something naff, and it's just gonna be something
Kettle.
a kettle.
cursed
Bloody
hair
hell.
dryer or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be more in line with what we've had so far. We've had compact mirror, tattoo needles, mulcher.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
I love this show.
There
But
we
apart from
go.
that, film of the week.
Yeah. So apart from that is the film we're all here to discuss. It's a brand new release. And if you listen to the show, I did interview the director Eli Craig about this just a couple of weeks ago. And it is Clown in a Cornfield, a 2025 American slasher film directed by Eli Craig. And it's based on the 2020 novel by Adam Cesare. Is that how you say his name? Caesar. It's based on the 2020 novel by Adam Cesare. That's what I'm going to do. I'm sticking to that. Stars Katie Douglas, Aaron Abrams, Carson MacCormac, Kevin Durand, and Will Sasso. Um, 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb. Oh, actually, sorry, I'll give you a synopsis first. A fading midwestern town in which Frendo the Clown, a symbol of bygone success, reemerges as a terrifying scourge. He's a bloody terrifying scourge. I want to be known as that one day, a terrifying scourge. So IMDb 6.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomato 74% audience score, 64% critic score. Letterboxd 3.0 out of 5. Got some choice reviews for you here. Kit Laser says, for someone severely sick of both slashers and clowns, I had a blast with this. 3.5 stars. Mariana Neal says, listen, this may not be the best movie of the year, but I'm just glad we're having fun with slashers again. 3 stars. Justy says the promise of a clown appearing in a cornfield is met and delivered. 3 stars. I'm glad. And then Josh Rowley says amusing, brisk, clever, clowny, corny, gory, grisly, gross, gruesome, retro. Lots of words to describe this film there. So yeah, there we go. Has anybody read the book it is based upon? I know it's a bit of a young adult book, isn't it?
No, it's on my list, but my lists are very long now.
It's on my list,
I'm
but
not
it's never ended.
Lists are
I'm not
endless.
sure I'm gonna.
Sadly, time is not. And congratulations, Ben, on avoiding falling into my trap by saying in full that it was a young adult book.
What did I say?
That's what you said. You avoided my trap. If you'd said it was a YA book, then I could have countered by saying, "Oh, I didn't know that it was from Newcastle."
The YA book.
So he's got too wise to my stuff, to my shit,
Fog
Mark.
on the
Sadly,
Tide is all. It happens in the Fog of the Tide. It does. So yeah, I've not read the book either. I've heard good things. I think we've got a sequel out, and I think maybe a third book is on the way.
yeah, there are multiple books, right? It's an ongoing concern.
It's an ongoing concern. This guy called Frendo. How do you feel about clowns in horror movies, Mark? Are you just like that reviewer, sick of them, or do you feel like there's not quite enough? I know there's only really like a handful of the most iconic ones, I guess.
I quite like a clown, to be honest. I mean, they're inherently unpleasant, aren't they?
Hmm.
Things aren't going to end well if you have a clown. Well,
Yeah.
actually, clowns in any films, I just don't feel like a good idea. But yeah, if you've got a horror
Uh,
film, you know it's going to end badly.
I feel like clowns that like all clowns in horror movies aren't all the same now. We've got like supernatural entities. We've got well, I guess art is a supernatural entity as well. But like psychopath slashers, aliens with the killer clowns from outer space. Um, so yeah, I feel like this is something like a little bit different as well. And I think if you go into it and you haven't read the book, it's nice to see it unfold as you work out what is actually behind Frendo. Quite a good clown name as well, isn't it, Frendo? Because it's disarming, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's everything's going to be measured against art and the Terrifier films for a while. I think in
Yeah.
terms of clowns, and I think in the interview that you did with Eli Craig, I think that was one of their considerations, wasn't it, that they had to make it different enough. And I think
Yeah.
they have done that. They've made it. It's a
Oh
very
yeah.
different entity.
I think
It's a
it
very real
succeeds.
entity as opposed to supernatural.
Yeah. I think it succeeds. So I don't think I thought about Terrifier once during it. I didn't go, oh, that's a bit like this.
No, no.
Which was good. I feel like obviously with your movie, Drive-In, um, or we've spoken about this before, obviously writing teenagers must be a bit of a challenge. I feel like they get it pretty spot on in this. I feel like they seem like real people. They speak like real
Yeah.
teenagers. Their relationships feel legitimate as well. It doesn't feel like forced in. There isn't too much like slang and all that stuff that sometimes people just throw in there to try and appeal to certain generations.
My only critique I had of the relationship and the writing of the teenagers in any sense is it feels like from the very beginning there is such a tension between generations. Everyone's immediately walking on eggshells. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
but is that
maybe it coded. I mean, before we say anything else, this film hasn't. It's not on. It's about to be on wide release. If you haven't watched it and you're going to, give us a little pause. Come back after you've watched it.
yeah,
So we will
we're
do full
we're
spoilers
spoiling
in this.
everything, aren't we?
But yeah, the for me the even one of the early scenes in the diner, like the sheriff is immediately like, stay away from those. They're rude, rude kids, and they're so bad, and they're all about their TikToks and their
Yeah.
Instagram, and then straight away, like the woman at the diner is like, I'm instantly rude to you, a child.
Yeah.
Like, come on, everybody, wind it in a tiny bit. I know there's some built-up frustrations, but you don't have to have such enmity
I
immediately.
honestly don't feel like I mean, it is like a caricature version of it, but I don't feel like it's that far from reality currently because, especially with like the way politics are being shaped in both the US and the UK, I feel like we're getting to a point now where certain older generations, of course, not everybody, but certain older generations are going, I actually don't care anymore. I'm just going to tell you that everything you believe in is rubbish, and younger generations are a bit just annoyed with the older generations and in terms of them not wanting to shift the dial on their sort of ways of life. Did it remind you a lot of Founders Day?
Yeah, it had
Maybe.
good found. It had some, in a positive sense, had some good Founders Day
Yeah.
energy. I
I don't
think
know.
some. I think sometimes maybe that narrative that you were mentioning, Ben, the generation. I can't help but to a degree feel that some of that is artificially inflated by
Yeah.
poor journalism, not poor writing in a sense, but I think the whole thing is like, here are 10 things that
Oh,
that
absolutely,
that
yeah.
that Gen Z hate about millennials. Like, do they care about me and whether I wear skinny jeans or that much? And do I care that they allegedly care about it? I tell you what, I don't care enough to do. Click on this article and read it. In fact, not interested. Thank you. Um,
I think I agree, but then at the same time, when it gets inflated online, that starts to bleed over into reality. I mean, unfortunately, reality is really sort of set up by stuff online. Like stuff, and again, it changes week to week, so it's really difficult to. It's a
yeah,
really difficult landscape to navigate. But
yeah.
yeah, because read a lot of reviews and people were calling this film woke, and people were saying different things about this film and that, and I'm like, if by woke you mean just happens to have a representation of people in a different way to something you grew up on, then no. But yeah, I don't know.
If
But
we do
most
have
of
any Gen Z
the
listeners, I will
yeah.
say there is more than is similar than divides us, and time comes for us all. We're all in the same boat with this together,
We're all in the
unless you're a
same boat,
billionaire.
exactly. What were you going to say then, Mark?
And
Sorry.
yeah, most of the people that use the word woke don't actually know what that word
Oh,
means.
absolutely, yeah.
And it's probably, not,
Yeah.
jumping ahead
Everything I
slightly, it's
don't
probably,
like is woke.
yeah,
Every,
there's just,
every
there's a gay character, two gay characters in this film that to them is woke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, to be fair,
How
like
dare
as I
you?
said,
Yeah.
it was a few weeks since I've seen this film. But when I was reading reviews and people were calling it woke, I was a bit like, I can't even think about what would even be misconstrued as woke, let alone. And then I remembered that, and I was like, okay. So two gay characters, and gay people exist in the real world, and they're in a film. Oh God, yeah, it's
Yeah.
And there are some women doing heroic things, too much for some people.
too much for some people. I watched this film the other day called Aliens, and there's a bloody woman in it, and she's the main hero. It's so woke. Come on now, everybody, just take a step back. Um, but yeah, I feel like it captured the generational divide pretty well. Founders Day, a slasher. I don't know if you've seen that at all, Mark. Founders Day, kind of like a
I think I have. Remind me which
another American
It's
slasher
kind of election coded.
election. Yeah,
is the
Uh,
lead's a young girl.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Lead is a young girl, and the slasher villain is kind of a
Yeah,
judgy
yeah,
character. Has got a
yeah,
little
yeah.
gavel.
I feel
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
a good triple bill would be Founders Day, Clown on a Cornfield, and Thanksgiving, because I feel like they all feel like they take place in the same universe, in possibly the same area of the US. Again, my American geography might not be quite down. Missouri, is that sort of like
Sort of Midwest, right?
Midwest? I was going to say Midwest. I didn't want to just,
I think
yeah, it kind
Founders
of.
Day is certainly filmed in Connecticut. I'm not sure if it's set there or not.
Mm. It feels like that sort of is that kind of coded, with those sort of slashers, and there's that generational divide which is very present, which is kind of like making the tensions arise, and then when people start getting killed, it's like fingers get pointed and stuff like that. But I think it's good for the most part. I like it.
Yeah,
You agree, Andy?
interesting.
Did
Do
you?
we recognize many of our main stars from anything else? Are these all emergent talents, or would we recognize people from anywhere?
I think the lead, Catherine Douglas or Katie Douglas, I don't think I've seen her in anything, but I thought she was really good. I would say of any of like the leads in, let's say, Thanksgiving, as I'm comparing them, Thanksgiving and Founders Day, I definitely think Katie's the best. I feel like she's the most well-rounded and believable as a character. And it's good to have like a slightly different take on like a central love connection as well, isn't it? Because you kind of think it's going to go one way and then it goes another way. Um, Kevin Durand, Arthur Hill, I recognize him from stuff. He's obviously in Abigail, which was fairly recent. I always know him as the Blob in X-Men Origins
Of course.
Wolverine. Will Sasso's in it as well, which is kind of funny. Because obviously he's mainly a comedian, isn't he? But he still appears in quite a lot of films these days.
I mean, you buried the lead man, of course. Then he's also from Big Mama's House too.
Okay. What's the tagline to that? Big Mama's House
I
too.
don't know, but he's also, I don't believe you didn't lead with this. Barry Burton in Resident Evil
Oh my
Retribution.
God, he is, isn't he?
Put him in
One of the
put him in
ones
a
that begins with
gilet.
R. Resident Evil
Retribution.
Retribution. Oh dear. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah. And apart from that, all of the young folk, I don't recognize in anything else before.
I
Um,
recognised Quinn's dad, Aaron Abrams. It took me ages to try and figure out,
yeah.
and I had to look him up. He was one of the pathologists in Hannibal, the
Oh,
TV.
okay.
Well, there you
I
go.
had to do it all the way through, just trying to think, where have I seen him before?
Yeah.
I just couldn't work it out, but he
Oh,
was good. I
there's
liked him as a character as well.
And I
a
guess,
couple of other things from his oeuvre that you might want to add. He's in 2007, he plays Matt in a film called Young People Fucking, which he also wrote and executive produced.
oh
Um,
yeah, we see what he's
I,
playing at. Did you use the word oeuvre again? That's twice this
I did
podcast.
twice in an episode. I won't use it
Can't do
again.
that.
Three
You
times it will
can't do that.
disappear. And then also showing us what Jesus H. Christ stands for. In 2012, he's in Jesus Henry Christ as
Oh
Malcolm's
yeah,
dad.
we all knew that. In terms of what Eli Craig's directed before, obviously, I guess this is a bit less of what would you call? I mean, comedy coded Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and obviously like a little bit of a spoof on the genre. Although I don't know, I feel like it's still got a lot of heart and soul to it, hasn't it? Clown in the Cornfield's got a little bit of that, tiny little bit of that, but not too much. It's mostly played straight, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we have over the top violence, and there's some bits in the vet's office later that I think are quite comedy coded.
Yeah.
But we'll come to it.
We'll get to that, yeah. Okay, so we start off with a like prologue, and it's 1991 in the town of Kettle Springs, Missouri. A group of teenagers are partying near the old Bay Pen corn syrup factory. I mean,
Classic party location.
was there any what was the dodgiest place as a teenager you used to go? Mine was usually just like any old park having a bottle of White Lightning or something like that. There were no Bay Pen corn syrup factories for me to go and party nearby.
We
Anywhere
used
in
to go
anywhere in
around the
Tamworth, Andy?
back of Tamworth Castle, like round the back of Tamworth Castle, sit and have a lovely bottle of Frosty Jack cider. After you drink half of it, you top it back up with a can of Foster's. You've got yourself a litre of snakebite, my friend.
Oh hell yes.
We used to sit back there, um, listen to some cassette tapes. Some people had smoked cigarettes, not me. I was drinking. That was my vice.
That was your
Uh,
advice.
and then after you'd had that, you'd go and have a quick go on the playground, but you wouldn't stay there all night. Not the shelter.
You don't muck around on the playground. Where did you grow up, Mark?
I grew up in Kent, town Folkestone, which people may have heard of in relation to the Channel Tunnel.
Yeah.
That is only claim to fame now.
Is that where you'd hang out and underage drink? Just
Yeah, just
in the
just
construction
half,
site of the tunnel.
halfway through the tunnel. Yeah,
Halfway
well,
through the
International
tunnel.
waters. Everything's
International
legal.
underage drinking,
perfectly legal
international
there.
as they can't get to you.
No, growing up there was lots of woodland around which housed various. I'm going to sound like a Channel 4, BBC 4 history program. These old
I like it.
I can't remember what they called them now, but they're old Napoleonic War. These little forts and things, Martello towers
Oh
around,
yeah.
and then
I know
these
what you mean.
little they were like Second World War bunkers, these concrete pillboxes.
Oh,
I don't
pillboxes,
even know
yeah.
why they were there, but yeah, that was kind of a place you'd hang out and
Yeah. We've
you
got
know
some of them nearby, like in
I guess
Portishead.
any
There's some
coastal place, it
pillboxes.
would have been in case of invasion, right? Shoot Nazis from here. Or
Exactly.
if they
yeah,
don't come, years later, have a couple of tabs in them and drink cider.
Yeah, don't want to waste them.
yeah,
Come on.
no tabs, but maybe a bit of cider.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
maybe,
Or a bit
Bit
yeah,
of
of
cheap.
cider, then
Back
you
in
know,
those days,
if
you could get a very cheap bottle of sherry from Safeway for a few
oh,
quid. So it was,
oh my God. Sherry, Safeway, these are all words that
I wouldn't recommend it, but when you're
yeah.
when you're young, it seems like a good idea.
When
yeah.
you want to treat yourself and you've got one friend who, despite being 14, is 6 foot tall and has a beard, then you can get yourself a bottle of 2020. What a lovely Friday night.
Yeah. They've still got a high voice though. All right, could I have a bottle of 2020, please? Um, so yeah, there's some teenagers in this. Oh, it's always teenagers, isn't it? Tyler and Jessica, they decide to have sex in the surrounding cornfield. Obviously, those are the rules. Underage sex. Killed by Frendo, the clown, the factory's clown mascot. Um, That's pretty terrifying when you think about it. Like, what would be the scariest mascot to be attacked by? I was thinking, I mean, got to be Honey Monster, isn't it? From Sugar Puffs.
I'd go with Coco the monkey. He's a
Well,
monkey, Ben. You know
yeah.
what they're capable of.
Well, out of the three, then the three horsemen of the the four
Well,
horsemen, the
Tony the
serial
tiger, obviously, he's got all
Tony
the
the
power of a
Tiger,
tiger, and he has a neckerchief.
Honey Monster, Cocoa Pops Monkey, little Lucky Charms fella, maybe.
The leprechaun, he's magic, so you got to be careful of
I'm
him.
I'm thinking the baby from the Fairy Liquid adverts
Oh
would be
yeah.
pretty
When he's in
terrible.
punk mode, like in those new, more recent adverts, and he's got a motorbike.
You don't
Riding
know
in on a
anything about
motorbike.
Punk Baby.
Yeah.
Tell me your
Snap,
favorite Ricky
crackle,
the
and pop.
Stooges
They'll
song.
combine like a Megazord and beat the shit out of you.
Maybe we could put him on Mount Rushmore with a
Yeah, the honey
chainsaw.
monster.
It would be like imagine if you were partying somewhere like the Bay Pen corn syrup factory, and it happened to be the factory's mascot that kills you. That's got to be
Can you
that's a
imagine
nightmare.
that? That'd be like us in our youth if the happy shopper face came and absolutely stabbed the shit out of you.
What were we thinking at this point? Because I was kind of thinking, okay, so it's 1991, 30-ish years between that and the modern day. Were we thinking it's gonna be some sort of supernatural thing, a Pennywise situation where it
Yeah,
it,
I
it
thought it was
comes
going to
out
be
after 27 years?
the for the prosperity of the town, a bit like it's not called Dark Harvest, but it's something along that, where a ritual.
I think it is called
Um,
Dark Harvest, you know?
I've nailed it in one. I
Yeah.
should have believed in myself.
Again, I feel like that kind of fits into this kind of vibe as well.
That town also
This,
exists in this world.
yeah, yeah. You know when it's just
What
like
cursed spirit have you got in your town? Scarecrow, but big pumpkin head.
Scarecrow. Yeah, we got Frendo. Yeah, he's all right, don't he? Yeah, he's not bad.
What about you? Just political angst in this town? Okay.
Political angst in this town.
I
Uh,
think it was quite nice that they framed it around. So the teenagers were smoking weed, weren't they? So it's 1991. They're all getting high, and then when you compare that to the later party,
mm,
and the later time, it's moved on, hasn't it? The kids aren't into doing weed anymore. It's all about YouTube,
it's
TikTok.
because it's bloody legal now.
Well,
Everyone's having a vape.
but
Perfectly legal.
that did make me laugh though when Jessica's run off into the cornfield and a bloke's chasing behind her is obviously stoned and then sees the imprint of the clown shoe and just Jesus, Jessica, how big are your feet?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I thought it's just set the tone quite nicely for the film. It's like it's not going to take itself too seriously.
Yeah, that's pretty
We're going to get a
cool.
bit of
And
fun.
also, one thing we should definitely celebrate, delivering on the premise of the title in the
Yeah.
cold open.
Oh yeah. And to be fair, like the film does move away from being a clown in a cornfield for a lot of the time, but still, I'm glad that we got it initially. That kind of sets us up nicely, doesn't it? It can go wherever it wants after that.
Yeah. Does spend more time in the cornfield still, though.
Yeah, it does a little bit more, but
Jurassic
everywhere
Park 2,
else
The
as well.
Lost World it a bit later.
Yeah, indeed. So we cut to present day. Quinn Maybrook, who's our lead, and her father Glenn, they move into Kettle Springs, where Glenn is the new town doctor. I feel like this isn't this the plot of Arachnophobia?
Arachnophobia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because there's the same kind of thing, isn't there? We're like, oh, the new town doctor, are you? Well, our old doctor used to do this. He was dishing out, dish, he was dishing out drugs left, right, and centre.
Yeah, very true. And also only one doctor in the town. Doesn't have to have a big you don't have to have a particularly big town to need more than one
No, a
doctor.
lot of pressure as well. You can't have a sick day. Like, what if do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
What if you want how do you go on holiday?
Yeah, how'd you go
Um,
on holiday? You can't.
Also no shade intended, but Quinn Maybrook does feel a very written name. It's like
Quinn Maybrook. Does she? So I guess they're moving around all the time. Her mum has died. Quinn's mother, Samantha, died. So their relationship's a little bit fractured. And when they move in, they get greeted by their neighbor. I mean, if you want to say written names, Andy, their neighbor's name is Rust Vance.
Rust Vance.
I mean, I like that. That's a good
I
name.
mean I can
Solid
see
name.
we've got a few more of these to come yet.
Yeah. And he walks her to school for her first day. Um, And it's very different now, isn't it? What I kind of like about this is that it represents a generation slightly differently. When a new person is starting a school back in the 90s, in the film, they've been absolutely terrorized and stuff like that. I feel like in this one, a lot of the people are very quickly to make her sort of at ease. I feel like that's quite realistic as well. But the
Yeah,
first class goes wrong because the teacher, Mr. Verne, he gets pranked.
he's raging as well. He
He's
takes it.
absolutely raging. He
This
is
is the
one
level of
step away
aggro.
from punching a kid. He is.
The level of aggro in this town is maxed out. Everyone is permanently already at an 8.
Everyone's
You
absolutely
are right
raging,
though, at
yeah.
least especially because the kids are, I would say, in comparison to, I reckon, the things that kids truly are capable of, it's fairly light, isn't it? It's like, oh, your dating profile, sir. I feel like the level of joke they play on him might be the one that you would play on a teacher that you like and had a good relationship with, and you'd be like, oh, you guys. But he is like immediately
Wait,
goes.
what do they do? They've just got a print out of his dating.
They've got a printout of his dating profile that they've made. Like,
Yeah.
it's him on a muscle man. How dare you imply that I have a great physique, you fucks? And
But
he
this is
goes
one of
full
those.
Cavonia. He's like steam coming out of his nose like a
ev-
bull.
Everyone gets added to detention, even if they like glance in his direction at this point. Right, that's it. Detention.
If
And
you
poor Quinn.
exist.
If you exist, detention. And poor Quinn, when she's like telling her dad and stuff later on, sort of saying, "Well, got detention because the teacher is an absolute dickhead," and it's like, yeah, all right, fair enough. Um, and then in detention, she manages to befriend. I mean, this Cole Hill. Yep, that's a pretty
Yeah,
written name.
she befriends the entire Breakfast Club, who are already inseparable friends, having had a separate movie where,
Yeah,
despite their disparate interests and aesthetics, have all become besties.
it's got a description of all of them here, right? In
Yeah, who
in
we
terms of
got?
their, so we've got Cole Hill and his group of friends. He's not got a description because he's not important. Janet Murray, a queen bee. Matt Trent, a fitness buff.
Yeah,
Ronnie Queen, Matt's girlfriend. That's all she's known as. All she's good at. She's in a relationship with that guy. That's all you need to know. What?
and
Has she
he
got
is
any
a
interests
fitness
of her
buff.
own? No, 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 no. And Tucker Lee, a nerd.
Luckily,
God. Well, which one am I then? You're the bloody nerd. Sorry. And I guess like a very diverse friend group because yeah, and we're talking about movies in the 80s and 90s. You kind of had everyone's everyone's stuck to their own friend groups. The nerds, the jocks, the goths, all that
to be fair,
stuff.
you've also been trained on Stephen King adaptations where the level of bullying is absolutely
Life or
psychotic.
death.
It's like, you're a new kid. For a prank, I'm going to stab you to death
It's just
and
a laugh.
carve my name into your stomach, thus meaning I'm immediately caught. Victim was found with, oh, what's his name? Horrible Belch. That's one of his sidekicks. Henry, oh, I'll never remember. Henry Winkler, the Fonz. He's got, you've got his name carved into him. Who could have committed this crime?
Well, definitely wasn't me because I don't do my own name, would I? I'm not an idiot. Someone
Framed.
else stitching me up. Um, Yeah, does anyone have any favorite character at this point, or do you kind of? I feel like there are a few of the characters in this friend group that are unfortunately a little bit forgettable. I feel like they're kind of just background characters, aren't they?
You don't have to remember them for long.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. No, you
And,
don't.
no,
Um,
yeah,
Obviously, our big favorite is meant to be Cole Hill, whose thing is the main one.
the main one, and he's like that. I guess like a bit of a love interest for. That's right, isn't it? Is that what we're saying?
Immediate love
yeah,
interest. Look at my
Immediate love
sexy floppy
interest.
hair.
Yeah, immediate love interest for Quinn because when you move into a new town, just immediately get your clothes into someone. That's the only
Yeah,
way you're gonna get
when you
through
move
school.
into a new town, grieving and still suffering after the death of your mother,
Yeah.
you're like, well,
Immediately latch on to the nearest man who might be gay. Um, maybe. At a diner later that day, Sheriff George Dunn, who's played by Will Sasso, tells her not to associate with Cole and his friends. Don't bother, because they've got like a YouTube channel where they kind of like do pranks and kind of like what do they do? It's just like pranks with
with Frendo.
with
Yeah,
Frendo. Yeah,
they are basically
Series.
independent filmmakers. Is that listen?
yeah, they're
Don't
doing
you
shitty old
associate with
pranks.
any? Don't you associate with this tight-knit group of friends that are into film production, actually showing quite a lot of discipline and innovation? Just don't be
And
friends with them.
well-paced videos with great scares, great writing and stuff. Don't associate yourself with them. All right.
Production value, keeping notoriety in our town that maybe has fallen off the radar a little bit. Don't associate with them.
So what is the bait? So what is it? Bay pen? It's just corn syrup. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And that's the reason, though, isn't it? Because there's that insinuation that Cole and his friends may have been responsible for burning it down.
Oh, okay, I got you. Oh,
Oh
burning
yeah,
it down.
because
Yeah, of course.
someone's
Yeah.
sister dies, right? Is it Cole's sister?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this. I
No,
don't know. I feel like this was
I
maybe
can't.
worthy of like a
Yeah.
prologue or something like that because I feel like it's quite.
I can't remember whether she was supposed to. It's terrible. As I say, my short-term memory is awful. But his sister's definitely dead, and
Hmm.
his dad blames Cole.
Dad blames him. So his dad's like a political figure as well. Is he the mayor or like something like
He's
that?
the mayor, but
Yeah.
also related to the town founder,
Yeah.
right?
So
So it
it's
just so happens
blood
that
deep.
it just so happens that the cream of the crop has risen to the top, and they all just happen to have been from the same family, generation on generation on generation. Thank
Yeah.
goodness, making it all easy, chosen by God as the best of the people in the town, so they're still in charge of the place.
No inbreeding at all.
But a nice
Um,
little touch. They all live in Hill House as well, which I
Very
thought was
good.
quite nice.
very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Statistically, there must be loads of hill houses in the world that are nice.
oh
Great
yeah.
views, high property values, zero
It's
hauntings.
lovely, really. A house on a hill, beautiful. Zero hauntings, yeah. Um, after not long after that, they do a bit of shoplifting. Oh, don't associate with these people because they're bad. No, we're all right actually. We're gonna do some ethical shoplifting
Oh
where
yeah,
we
because
steal.
you steal, but leave. You steal because actually you're helping that man because it would be illegal for him
Yeah.
to sell you booze. He'd lose his license. He'd be in ever such
This,
trouble.
Andy, is how Bernard from Bernard's Watch steals, isn't it?
Yeah,
He always leaves money behind.
proper CITV positive message. If you do have to steal because you've frozen time, it's probably to save an old man or something like that. But you do leave the exact money
Leave the
of the
exact
stuff.
money, maybe even a little bit more because of the inconvenience of trying to work out what happened.
And because also
Extra
because you're going to
fiver.
have to manually reorder your booze because the SKUs on your ordering
Oh
system
my
are all going to be out of
God.
whack. Um, but I am not sure if it's going to cover the damage you had by staging a fight in the
Yeah.
shop. When he goes,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, I know we're just in the middle of shopping for snacks in this convenience store, but I did have sex with your grandma. And it's like, you what, mate? Thrust into shelves, knock everything over.
Yeah.
It was a
Um,
good. Yeah. I mean, I'm leaping ahead again, but the guy holding fort in the shop. It's another setup, wasn't it, to kind of drive home the reason why what happens later in the film happens
Yeah.
because they're going around
Mm.
pissing everybody off by staging fights in convenience stores.
And what
But
do they
then,
steal? Just like a shitty old bottle of vodka as well. I know,
yeah, bottle and some cans. I think
bottles
some
and cans. A
yeah,
lot
a
of
couple
pressure
not a
of
down
lot.
there, having to really quickly steal something. Oh God, what shall I
couple of
get?
tinnies and a bottle of ouzo.
Bottle of ouzo, big bottle of
Oh,
sours. That's 15% sours. Ain't gonna get any of us drunk. For God's sake.
Drambuie. What's that?
Drambuie.
Baby sham.
Lovely
Like
bottle of
Drambuie,
taboo.
actually. A bottle of taboo. Tequila
Lovely.
Rose.
Bottle,
Um,
bottle of taboo and four hooches.
oh, non-alcoholic. You got a non-alcoholic Bex. You fucking idiot.
Oh, right. Go back, return that, and then stage another
Yeah.
in-store fight and get me a crate of reef.
Oh God. Tropical
A
Reef.
bottle of Buckfast.
Oh, Buckfast. Wreck the hoosh juice.
Wreck the Who's juice. So they go and have a little. They don't get tanked up royally. They just go and chill out. Like,
But they get
around the
film
fire.
drunk where everyone is largely fine.
Yeah, fine drunk. No one's paralytic. No one's literally
There has never been a teenage drinking session where someone either can't hold their booze or, and ends up like near death
We're gonna have to call their
before
mum.
8 o'clock at
No,
night.
no, no. We'll get them to sober up. It's fine. Put their face in the fire. It is the worst. I do not miss that at all. Yeah, and what they do is they try and Frendo attacks, but it is just them making their latest YouTube video, and obviously because Quinn is brand new, they catch her actual reaction of her being terrified.
Being scared. And then, of course, you do have to sign this consent form though for us
Yeah.
to put this up and make. Otherwise, we'll get demonetized.
And when you look at but when you look at the bloody footage, there's another Frendo in the background. There's the real Frendo, who's like one of the guys dressed up, and then there's another Frendo watching from afar. What's unique about this clown though? How could we describe this clown? He's not got a particular weapon of choice, has he?
No, he's got
Axe,
a
crossbow.
variety of weapons. There's a chainsaw bit a bit later, right? There's
Yeah.
all kinds of weapons that the friendos use.
Mm.
Mask wise, it's not your traditional clown with a real face that is painted. A friendo is a mask,
Yeah.
right? It's a full latex mask in the styling of a clown that goes over the head. Got a sort of Ronald McDonald paint scheme about him.
Got a touch of the Ronalds about him, and yeah, he sure does.
But it's not a friendly mascot, is it?
No,
No.
Corn syrup. That's not a
This
friendly
particular one
face.
isn't a friendly, but there is like a friendly version of him. Like when they've got the floats and stuff knocking about, there is like a version of him that looks a bit friendlier, looks a bit less
Yeah.
sinister, doesn't it? And even the one on the corn syrup bottles, because I think we do see one of them, don't we?
yeah. When they've obviously repurposed this mascot to be a killer, what they've done is they've gone into their 3D printer, they've got the model of the original, and they've just got the terrifying slider, and just taken it right up to
Slid
the
it all the
top
way up to 100.
before they've rendered this final
Yeah.
3D printed these masks.
I mean, I don't know how that works, but it sounds about right. Cole drives Quinn home. Wait a minute, how many beers did he had? Well, I suppose they had a bottle of sours between 8 of them. So
Yeah.
Well, he did say to Quinn's dad that it's okay. It was a few hours ago.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
I've sobered right up. It's fine. Well, really, you shouldn't drive the next day if you've had a drink because that's fine.
Well, they couldn't make this in Scotland. The our levels of alcohol that are within the permissible limit so low. But
He's like Martin Mucklow. He can metabolize a pint in 8 minutes.
yeah.
And I
Yeah, he
can-
does point out this. I think that's good though, because that was always one of the gripes I have whenever you watch a film of an earlier and you watch like a 70s, 80s movie, it's like, oh, drink driving appears just to be fine in the US.
Yeah, drink driving's just
Everyone
yeah.
does it. It's like, oh, here's the chief of police driving home absolutely slaughtered after 8 whiskeys. It's largely fine.
It's because it doesn't make it's not very cinematic, is it? Watching somebody go back to get their car from when they left it the night before, getting free buses to the place where you left your
Oh,
car.
I'm gonna have to call a taxi because
Yeah. When Cole drives Quinn home, the dad, Glenn, angrily confronts them. What does he say? You shouldn't be.
well, they're smooching, right?
Or they're having a smooch, and he's like, "How bloody are they having a smooch?" Well, I imagine.
Yeah.
Or are they
Yeah.
about to? Are they
Yeah.
actually kissing?
Okay, I'm just thinking. Okay,
They're
yeah,
about to, aren't they? And he just
yeah,
yanks the door open
yeah.
as
Bloody
as
hell.
dads do. Yeah. No
Just
privacy around here.
No privacy.
Yeah.
Get that door open before you smooch.
Dad has absolutely maxed out his stealth stat. Is that right?
Yeah,
I'm going to approach from the house, clear across the driveway.
yeah.
I'm just going to appear unseen.
He's been waiting
Immediately
down the road.
suspicious of him being the killer with that kind of sneak.
Yeah.
Sneak 100.
Oh yeah, you can pickpocket anyone. Quinn. That's when Quinn watches the video. She notices a second friendo. She sends a screenshot to Tucker, who simultaneously receives a notification from his doorbell. This is interesting, isn't it? Because I guess like this is the next step. I was thinking the next step of like found footage slash slasher things is going to be like Ring doorbells, right? Because
A film made entirely on Ring doorbell cam.
yeah, I reckon so. I was thinking,
Other
to be
brands are
fair,
available.
when I saw some stuff like with the weapons trailer, I thought, oh, they're going to take advantage of this because there was a couple of shots of that. It didn't end up going that way, but I think it could be pretty interesting. Um,
There was an episode of Inside Number Nine, wasn't there, that did that?
Where's the?
oh, really? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it the one that's all from CCTV inside the studio? That's the one episode of it I've seen.
Oh, no, no, it's one. It is through the doorbell camera, so it's a family in one house
Oh,
and a
nice.
family opposite, and the usual sort of comedy of errors and escalation that ends up with a murder and
Oh, wow.
being killed and hidden in wheelie bins, but it's all filmed through the doorbell cameras.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
I think
I didn't know that.
we
I'll
do
have
more
to,
of it.
yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, check it out. It's good stuff.
Tucker explores his house, believing it to be one of his friends, having a laugh. Oh, you just having a laugh, are you? Just, I suppose that's what it is. You know, like back in, when you used to watch Jackass, and you'd be like, oh, all these guys are really funny. I'd love them to be my friends. You couldn't relax for a second. That is what it's like having with these guys having a YouTube channel where they try and scare each other all the time, dressed up as Frendo. You couldn't
Yeah.
chill out for a minute. You'd be
I
like,
think
I'm
you'd have to have
once
some kind of amnesty. Say, right, Sundays,
amnesty, the Frendo
it's like
amnesty.
no pranks on a Sunday. It's just Craig David rules. You have to chill.
What, the Lord's Day?
Yeah.
No pranks on the Lord's Day.
So I went for Sundays were more synonymous for me with Craig David having a rest
Yeah.
than the Lord.
Chilled on Sunday. So, yeah, and he gets killed. How does he get killed by Frendo? How does he die? Is it just is it an axe?
I think it was an act because he's skulking around the house with his the gun. What was it? What did they? Nerf. He had a Nerf gun, didn't he? He was scouting around with a Nerf gun. Goes upstairs, comes back into the room, and Frendo moves quickly because he's completely covered the floor in plastic sheeting.
Oh, yeah.
Which, when you think about what happens later,
Makes sense.
you kind of think he's not acting alone. But I think it was an axe, wasn't it? You just see him
Mm,
hit the plastic sheet and then get wrapped up.
mm. Good though, isn't it? Because you think this Frendo, he's not the kind of person or entity who's going to be planning ahead or committing these murders without, oh, better not get caught. Clearly,
And it is quite brutal as well. It's not your typical, oh, we've got a teenager running around the house,
yeah. I felt
narrowly
that with
escaping.
a lot of the kills, a lot of the gore, like did feel kind of like it wasn't from like a YA story, was it really? It was from shut
Biker Grove.
No, he didn't have
He can't see.
Frendo with a paintball gun.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, boy, yeah, exactly. Get him in the eyes. Everyone's of a certain age is terrified of paintballing simply because of that.
Yeah, that's why I've never been.
Oh, no.
I've
Okay, we
noped
go
out
blind.
of so many stag do's. Oh, we're gonna go and do paintball. Lads, I've got no
No,
desire to have my
no.
eyes shot out and spend half a season blind. Thank you very much, but I will catch you at the pub afterwards.
Um, the next morning, Quinn sneaks off to the Founders Day Festival. Sneaks off. Where are you going? I'm just sneaking off to the Founders Day Festival, please. All right. In your bloody square. Cole and his friends join up as well. This is where we see like Cole's family, isn't it? And his dad and what he does in the town and their relationship and a little bit more backstory to do with the place getting burnt down and the sister. Um,
I love the read of the synopsis here, Ben, if I'm looking at the same one as you. Matt, wearing a Frendo mask, rides a unicycle and accidentally engulfs the Frendo float in flames.
what was he, Mr. Bean or something? It's just like
Yeah.
Mr. Bean goes to the Founders Day Festival. Oh no. Oh, Teddy. It's a unicycle straight into the bloody float.
That's like Frank Spencer levels of like
Yeah, it is.
Although
Um,
Frank Spencer would never be able to ride a unicycle the way he does. I think he does a bunny hop, rides it backwards at one point.
oh,
So that's it. He's probably showing off so
Yeah.
much. I can't
Michael
remember what it was
Crawford
that
could,
sets
but
the
not
time.
Frank's.
Yeah.
yeah, the actor Michael Crawford, that rollerblading, I feel like I think this has been impenetrable for international listeners this week. But if anyone from overseas, you may know him as Condor Man as well, but look up Michael Crawford roller skating stunt. You'll understand what I mean. I think he's one of the greatest of his generation.
Yeah, next level. He's been articulated. So that happens. I think the bloody sheriff like goes, "Oh, you lot, bloody,
You've done an arson.
you've
Get
done
arrested, all
you've
of
done
you.
another bloody arson. You lot are always doing an arson. If you're not doing a YouTube stunt, you're doing a bloody arson." And he goes, "A lot of you get in jail." So essentially, Quinn's 2 days here, detention 1 day, jail 2. What's the next one? What's the third
Jail is
one?
technically just adult detention, right?
Guantanamo Bay is the third day.
Yeah.
Well, deportation, isn't it? Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
straight up deportation. Get out of what's it called? Kettle Chips place. Kettle Springs.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Kettle Springs.
Get out of Kettle Chips place. So obviously your dad's fuming as you would be. You would be, wouldn't you? And it is
Yeah.
like we've been with these characters, so we understand how this is panned out. But if I was her dad, I'd be like, detention. And
He's like, oh, I've been a new doctor in this town. I've just relocated this entire thing. See this new car I'm driving? It's yours. It's important that the car is hers now because it's like, oh, but it's a manual. So I'm going to teach you to drive it. I thought it was going to be like
I'm going to
bonding.
teach you to drive stick. But it doesn't. Yeah, this is going to be your present, but unfortunately you're in jail, so you don't deserve it. Then we get Matt is working out in his garage. He finds a Bay Pen music box. Then we get Frendo killing him by what does he do? Saul's. Oh, he just like decapitates him, doesn't he? While he's lifting
Oh
weights.
yeah, very Nightmare on Elm Street 4 coded,
Very
right?
Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Apart from didn't also turn him into a
Turn him
cockroach.
into a cockroach and then smash him in a thing.
Yeah.
Apart from that minor detail, where he snaps his arms with a barbell and then saws him.
Yeah.
Very similar. Very Freddy coded.
Very.
But
Freddy.
in Clown in a Cornfield too, does he come back after a dog pisses fire on him
I hope so.
in his garage? That would be
I hope
a
so.
crossover
As far
now.
as I'm aware, that's how Jesus came back, wasn't it? If a dog called as it was written, if a dog called Jason pisses fire upon thou,
Oh yeah, the dog's called Jason.
he is risen.
So that night, Quinn sneaks off. Quinn, have a night off. Stop sneaking off. Oh, I'm sneaking off to the founders. I'm sneaking off to a party. Have a night off. Chill out. Stick Netflix on. Watch something nice.
Just
I don't
stay
know.
in and take your punishment just
Just
once.
chill out. Just chill out for God's sake. Come on.
Unfortunately, like it is easy to sneak out because as much as her dad has mastered the ability of sneaking himself, either his daughter has inherited that skill or her dad has put all his points into sneak and then his perception is really low.
His perception's terrible. It's like his little cone of vision, Metal Gear Solid style, is
Yeah, he's like
3 inches wide.
now to put on my Shire horse blinkers and
Go to
not
sleep.
see anything happening directly in front of me. What are you doing tonight, Dad? Oh, I'm just working on. I don't know if you've seen the announcements of the new phase of the MCU. I'm putting my Doctor Doom outfit together. Terrible peripheral vision, but I'm sure that will not affect anything I'm doing today. As soon as he's got it on, she's beside him, waving, and then she creeps out.
The party's at an isolated farmhouse. They meet up with everybody else. You've got a guy like announcing things on a microphone. It ain't that hardcore a rave if you got someone doing the doing the announcements.
Someone doing the announcements.
Could somebody with Robin Reliant please reverse out of the way? You're blocking someone in.
Shout out to Jade. It's her birthday today, everybody.
Oh yeah, they do say that,
I
right?
don't know if
They say something
do-
like that. Someone's
They do a
birthday.
birthday announcement.
Yeah,
Well,
I
they get
mean,
Cole up, don't they? Because he's basically paid for the.
yeah.
Oh,
You big rich bastard!
Yeah.
You've paid for all of this.
He's very
you've
humble
brought,
about it.
you've brought all the beer and all that stuff.
how
So-
much shoplifting have they been? They've been shoplifting for weeks to get all that beer.
Yeah, to the same guy with the same trick every time. He's like, "How many times has your grandmother been shagged by him? For God's sake!"
I'd like to there be a web series with every week someone going in and doing shoplifting in a different way. Like one time, 3 of them in a big coat.
Oh, that's a classic,
Sometimes
innit?
they'll
That is
stage
always a
that Stone
classic,
Cold
yeah.
Steve Austin Booker T fight in there so they can do a load of
Oh, God.
shoplifting.
I'd love that.
Or
They're
we
having a
pay for it
dance,
though.
and I think Quinn just can't help herself. She's like, "Cole, get into this nearby shed, and we're gonna make out." But Cole, after a few seconds, he's not into it. Then he says something like, "Oh, we should get to know each other first. We should spend a while chatting on an MSN Messenger and put song lyrics as our statuses, so we truly know each other.
Yeah.
Stop.
And she goes, "You bloody
Yeah, she gets real
frigid
bad.
old maid."
Yeah, this is weird. I feel like that's not. Yeah, I feel like if that happened, you'd be like, okay, I understand, or maybe like try and talk about it. But she pretty much just runs out like, right, someone, I've
And then
been
as soon as she runs
rejected.
out, the other girls are like, "Oh, has he failed to have sex with you as well? Because he's done it with both of us." Is this where she
Yeah,
gives I was gonna, in my imagination, I've escalated it to a punch. She just gives our Queen Bee character a big old push, doesn't she?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, just a push.
I don't know
But
where I thought this was
I,
going. Or did anyone think this was
I
going?
quite like that though. That it was, it was a slight twist, wasn't it? That your normal,
Mm,
typical. It will be that the guy's forcing himself on the girl,
yeah,
getting angry when she spurns him, and there's Quinn's got a lot of pent up anger in her, I think, with her dad and everything that's happened. So it was just her, that was the release for her when Cole spurned her, and
yeah,
Yeah.
then it's nice because it then started to give you that hint that Cole just wasn't in.
yeah,
Yeah. I think
So
your
there's
first tease that is it some sort of a mind games thing that he plays? Is he
yeah,
something wrong with him? But then I think as soon as old mate Rust turns up a moment later and they kind of share like some commentary, don't they? They like have a little thing. It's just be yourself for once in your life. Why don't you? And then
yeah.
they were like, okay,
I
I
don't.
see what we're doing here.
there's a scene earlier, isn't there, actually, when Quinn and Cole are in the car. I
Mm.
can't remember if it was early when he was taken aback after the first night. They nearly run Russ down, don't they, on the
Oh, and
road?
he's got like a
Oh
deer,
yeah.
Walking off
hasn't
with a
he?
deer slung over his shoulder. Been hunting with a shotgun.
He does say some. He did say something at some point to Cole. We used to go hunting together all the time.
Yeah, there was a
We
little
did.
bit. There was little hints there when you look back. It
Yeah,
makes a lot more sense. But yeah, I just thought
yeah.
it was a nice little twist there
Yeah.
because it starts making you think about that
Mm.
relationship and what you expect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ginger, who's Ginger Wagner? Apparently that's one. That's one of the friend group. She gets a crossbow bolt in the back. Um, around about now. I think they dismiss everything as like, oh, it's just another one of
Oh,
the
every
pranks
time you see
again.
someone killed, this is gonna be one of your YouTube pranks. Like very funny, and they're like kicking her
Very
on the
funny.
floor.
Crossbow bolt through the back. Easy enough to do, you know. We can all make that happen. Um, but
yeah.
yeah,
The
then
chuck
there's
gets the guy's head, don't
but then a
they?
head with a friendo
From
mask
the
on it
icebox,
gets thrown over.
which they
Pick,
still think is a gag.
still think is a gag. Pick up the head. Quinn goes and checks Ginger's pulse, and then they realize that Ginger and Matt are actually dead. It's a real head. I mean, what would you do? You'd be terrified,
Uh,
wouldn't you? If you had a severed head in
Panic
your hand.
as then a load of friendos come out of the
Yeah.
cornfield.
So this is very, very quickly sort of devolves into something completely different, doesn't it? It's not just
Because
a
doesn't Rust appear when so they all run to the barn
yeah,
and they're really good friends that got there earlier, lock them all out.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
they're outside with Frendo, and I think Rust appears and he shoots, he blows the guy's hand,
yeah.
or he
He
just
shoots
shoots
a
one of
guy's
them.
hand off.
It's
So you've got
like
one Frendo dead
one
on the
friendo
floor,
with a
and
crossbow bow, I think he's got. Yeah,
you're thinking, oh, hang on a minute, and that at that point you're starting to think, he clearly can't be dead because we're only
yeah.
half the film, so
Hand's gonna
something's
grow
got to
back or
happen.
something, yeah.
Yeah, and then that's when they start emerging, don't they, from the corn? It's
Multiple friendos, all of like different shapes and sizes as well. We're not talking just all. It's not just like a I don't know clone of the same one. It clearly is very. It's it already. We're like, okay, is it some sort of cult? Some sort of who knows what it could be? Multiple people in cahoots as well. So they run to the
Lots of
shed.
friendos, several of them shocked at. I mean, fair play to them for the resolve. I'm not sure I've ever been in any kind of collective or group organization where the second someone had their hand shot off, I'd have been like, calling it a night, actually.
See you later.
sign up for that.
Yeah, I think you're right. See you later. All the best.
Yeah, I'd signed up to do murders, not to be shot because this kid has a shotgun.
Yeah, you're like bloody hell.
They
No one.
really, they obviously really hate teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're just so focused on that. The odd hand doesn't matter.
Everybody runs into the shed. They find a sewer grate. So it's Quinn, Cole, Janet, and Ronnie use it to escape while Russ stays behind to set off a hastily made bomb. I mean, he goes hunting, he makes explosives.
He knows how to craft an IED.
Yeah, he's just got a bit of C4 here. Don't worry about it, mate.
It's got
But he
that chewing
buys them
gun from
some
Mission
time.
Impossible.
So when they come back out, don't they? And you kind of see some friendos like on fire, and
And it's like, oh, we've got to go back for him. He's been exploded, Cole.
it is weird, isn't it? How many times do films do this, where somebody like goes, "I'll stay back and suffer a terrible death." Well, I know that's not necessarily what happens.
Do you not
I'll
want
stay
to
back and
escape
suffer a
with
terrible
us?
death, so you get 9 seconds of extra time to get away. It's always like,
Yeah.
surely not. He could have got away as well.
And that
What's
was,
going on?
yeah, I mean, that was going back to a film from a few weeks ago. That was, I think, the only thing that annoyed me about Sinners was Delroy Lindo, um,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
his sacrifice to let everyone get
Everybody
away.
just cuts his
He could
wrist.
have just
Like,
gone with them, you know.
Yeah, he would have done better just like kicking as he walked up the stairs.
yeah.
He would have delayed them for as long.
Yeah. They just let them all eat him alive with people that he'd only met that day as well. Not like people he was really friends with or family members of. Just, I met you this day and I quite like you. I'm gonna sacrifice myself in order to
Like, quick, everyone, let's escape up these stairs together.
let's escape up these stairs to nowhere. There's nothing up there. Yeah, it is weird when that sort of stuff happens. So they get to the road. Uh, they reach a road. They call for a passing car, but it's Sheriff Dunn, who's very unhelpful. He refuses to listen to them and goes, "Cole, you're arrested for trespassing." And leaves
But
the rest of them at the side of the road, right?
that was when I started to wonder. I thought at that point Cole was in on it. That was
Ah, I see.
starting to think,
Trying to
and
get
I
him away.
wasn't a million miles from that, but obviously I
Yeah,
was wrong.
I know what you mean.
It
I was
was
kind of
wrong.
thinking that a little bit as well. Also, maybe thinking that maybe that was why he couldn't be too sort of like connected to Quinn. I guess he couldn't
Yeah.
be intimate with her because he was like, actually, I'm a murderer. Situation. I don't know.
Do we know at this point that he is into Russ, though? Do they have a tearful goodbye? Do they realize at that point? Or is it later in the film? It's
I
been a
think
while
it's a
since I
bit
watched
later
it.
because Russ has turned
I
back up,
think
didn't he?
there's something something is said in that shed. I
I think
think
it's as they're about to go,
Hint.
just admit you're a bloody like a gay man. It's 2025. And it's like,
Just
no,
admit
I
you're a gay man.
shan't.
There's something that's said which very heavily hints, but it's not
It's
explicit.
not
Again,
explicit at this point.
I guess thematically it's interesting as well because like homosexuality like in a small town as well with a lot of tradition and like your dad in a position of power being the mayor and stuff.
Corn
It's
syrup.
gonna be absolutely corn syrup. Corn syrup, yeah. It's always difficult when you're trying to find out your sexuality and there's loads of corn syrup around. It's difficult. Um, but yeah, I thought it was good and it was handled nicely as well and it was handled realistically. It didn't feel like it was something that was just put in there to throw us off as if to go, oh, actually, that's why he doesn't like Quinn is because of this. It was handled. It made sense in the realms of the story. Um, so yeah, after they get arrested, they obviously he leaves all the girls behind.
They have some sort of close encounters in the cornfields,
Yeah,
as you
there are
might do.
some velociraptors in the cornfield moments, close encounters. Again, it's a good place for any horror moments, isn't it? Like Signs is one, obviously, that comes to mind. The X-Files movie, there's a lot of stuff in the is it the first movie? I think it's the first movie where there's a lot of stuff in a cornfield, running away from stuff in a cornfield.
If you are
Feels
listening to this in the cornfields near you, if you're listening, Theresa May, very bad for the crops of you bumbling through them, knocking them all down. Farmers
Yeah.
have it hard enough at the minute.
Run through a field of wheat. What did she do? Did she run through a field of wheat in a circle? Was she alone? Was she running
Yeah,
towards
I
anybody else?
always assumed she was doing like the bit from Gladiator, just walking through, pushing a hand, imagining a dead family.
Yeah. Have you ever
making
let your hair down?
corn circles with Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to a rave in a shed or a rave in a outbuilding? No. I just run through the fields of wheat. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Glenn, the dad, goes out at this point looking for Quinn. doing the classic drive around. I suppose
Gets
it was
captured.
Yeah, and then he notices his practice has been broken into. I'm the only bloody doctor there. What's anyone doing? After investigating, he goes in and there's an injured friendo, one of the ones who got shotgunned, right? Is it the shotgun
Yeah,
hand
Yeah,
I
one?
think
it's
it's
the
the guy who had
guy
his hand
down.
blown off.
Yeah.
You'd be fuming, wouldn't you? You'd be like, I'll just set out to kill some teenagers and now I've got no hand. Um, but yeah, so there's another friendo there as well, trying to like get him to help the injured friendo. Does he like start working out what's going on by listening to like their radio chats and stuff?
Yeah, he's listening to the radio and he's hearing that's going on, and he realizes a real moment of decision if there's possibly a quick time event here, because obviously as a doctor you'd have taken a Hippocratic oath to do no harm. But he thinks in these circumstances,
Oh yeah.
let me check my reasons list. It's a real airbud rules situation. It's like there's nothing in the rules that say you can't kill murderous clowns by
Oh yeah.
stabbing him in the neck to death.
So he goes, find me this drug down there, and he goes, where? Down there? No, a bit further down, and yeah, stabs him in the neck. What about the
Although
one with
he
his hand
doesn't
off?
try and kill him, he goes, you should leave that in, and he doesn't listen. So
No.
technically,
That's right.
He
Killed
Batman
himself.
begins him. And he goes,
Yeah,
oh well,
he's-
I haven't
he
got to
slipped
save
the,
you.
He slipped the thing off the guy's finger, didn't he? Or pulled the cable off him, so the heart rate monitor
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
flatlined, and
Yeah.
so his mate panicked. And yeah, I thought that was quite a good little scene because they were
that was
threatening.
really cool.
Well,
That was really cool. And he, I assume in the hand blown off guy just dies anyway
I think he does. Yeah.
because he goes, not going to fix your hand, dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
See you later. Collateral damage.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough.
I mean, they started it, to be fair.
Live by the clown, die by the clown.
Exactly.
Continuing on to the Tillerson house, Quinn and her friends are again surrounded by friendos. Again, this is an interesting bit because now we're out of the cornfield. We're in like a bit of a siege mentality thing going on with all the friendos. What happens? I think some people hide in the cornfield on the way. Ronnie gets killed
Bonnie
at this
gets
point.
killed, doesn't she? Yeah,
How
I
does-
think
how does she die?
chainsawed. I
Gets
think
chainsawed.
Chainsawed, that's right. And again, it's nice that
Mhm.
there's a variety of weapons. Each friendo is obviously like, I actually prefer doing my murdering with a chainsaw. It's more iconic, scary with the noise. You know, people can hear me coming from miles away. I don't need to sneak. I can put all my
Yeah.
stats into handheld,
Into bladed weapons.
into bladed weapons. So yeah, that's how Ronnie dies. Quinn and Janet reach the Tillerson's house, and
Do
there's a
some
friend.
great generational comedy.
What Tillerson's
The,
house?
the rotary
Yeah.
phone.
Can't use a rotary phone.
Oh God, yeah. Oh no, yeah, that's really upsetting, isn't it?
But also they see a clown in the chair in the living room downstairs and just kind of ignore it. Just assume that it's dead or
It's a
That's
dead one.
it's,
Yeah, they can't use the rotary phone, which is obviously very, very sad and upsetting. Quinn notices a bulletin board with various news articles about Baypen's closure, along with pictures of groups of friendos. This is
Orgy of evidence Resident Evil room.
orgy
I
of
first
evidence
discovered
Resident
this
Evil room.
virus here.
Who's done this then? Well, make sure you get a bit of everything on this wall. Closure, yeah. Top left is the start of the story. Why you did it, your reasons. Top right, all evidence of you with holding up dead bodies. I don't know. A group of friendos.
Like some minutes from the recent Frendo meeting.
Minutes from the recent friendo meeting.
There's
Yeah.
going to be a party here. Approach from these like a map, little box. Kids in here.
Weapon of
Surround.
choice.
Go
A
in.
spreadsheet with everyone choosing their weapons.
Yeah.
So I think they realize they go, oh no, we're in a friendo's house, we're trapped. And this is when the dead friendo rushes at them with a pitchfork. He misses Quinn, but he impales Janet to the bloody ceiling. Imagine the upper body strength to do that. This isn't like this is not supernatural either.
Someone else in the town was obviously. What was your job when you weren't being a Frendo? As a whaleman, I can throw a
I was a
harpoon
whaling man.
with enough to force to transfix a minky whale. So
I
a
had
teenage
I had
girl,
forearms
no
like
bother.
sturdy oaks, and I just pinned someone to the ceiling.
Rip logs in half like Captain America.
Quinn like pulls. Well, this is all pretty horrific, and it pulls the pitchfork down, yanks it out of her. Does she? What did she say? She says something like, I hate you.
It's just
Something like
No,
I think
I
that's a
no, fuck
dying word,
you.
isn't it? I hate you, Quinn, or something like
I
that.
hate you, Quinn. And then I think the friendo says she kills the friendo, and the friendo says, I hate you too. Yeah, pitchforks to death.
But I think yeah, Janet's lying on the floor, isn't she, with the pitchfork,
Yeah.
waving around. And does it? How bad is it? How bad is it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Quinn just puts her foot on her chest and yanks it out.
Absolutely brutal. Well, that's the thing. Quinn knows what to do to get things done in this particular film. She is hardcore. She runs to the Tillerson's truck, but is unable to operate the manual transmission, unable to operate a rotary phone, unable to operate the manual transmission. Just give up. Just give up. Come on now.
You
Um,
understand, why the adults are wanting to kill him there.
yeah,
You can't
exactly.
read a phone. You can't drive a car. What
Mm.
what point? What is your point
But
in
then I
this
guess the
town?
older ones would be like, "Excuse me, the Wi-Fi's down again. How do you use
Yeah, you
this?"
see, it's about symbiotic life.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. It
I
really
bet
is.
any of those I bet if the printer runs out, I think actually no, generations have moved on. Our
Nobody
generations
knows.
are the ones
No.
that can do printer ink. Our parents are too old to do it, kids are too young to do it.
Yeah.
That's why we're still around.
Nothing needs to be printed these days. It's fine. Don't worry about
Or once in every so often, Ben, the most important document you need must be printed.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to print anything apart from once every 3 years.
Yeah.
And then it's like, sorry, to continue living, you're going to have a physical copy of this piece of paper.
yeah. Try
Uh,
try living with a teenage daughter that sells things on Etsy, and
Oh,
oh
the
bet
wow.
your
pain of
bet your print. I bet your lab. I bet you've got it lined up so you can
Yeah,
do
there you
like
have.
sticky labels even.
I
Got a
you know it's
template.
it's it's got to that point in my life where I have printer ink on subscribe and save on Amazon.
Oh,
That's
nice.
how bad it
Is it
is.
still like 80 quid?
It's not cheap. Let's put it that way. But I think
Oh,
I need to start charging her actually. She can claim the
Yeah,
VAT back.
I think you should. That's an admin job for tomorrow.
that needs to go through the QuickBooks.
Uh, shit. So Quinn gets pulled through the rear window by some friendos. What's the plural for friendos?
Friend
Friendai?
I.
By friendai. Uh, Quinn wakes up in the olfactory, surrounded by friendos, and they take off their masks for the big reveal. And the big reveal is basically everyone who isn't in this friend group that we've seen so far in the film. The man who
It's all
runs
our
the shop,
major
the diner
cut upon
waitress,
adults.
all
Yeah.
the adults, they're all friendos. And they blame the teens for the town's troubles. And Cole, who is hanging by a noose atop a pile of wood, they blame him as well. Arthur Hill, who's Cole's dad and the town mayor, he's disowned him. He's had a gutsful now. That's it now.
So
I'm the
you
lead.
killed your sister, I think.
Yeah. And I'm the leader of the friendos. And I'm just defending our tradition by committing mass murder. That's how all traditions are defended, remember. Um, and he gets interrupted by the arrival of Glenn, the dad, who drives his car into the factory, but in turn knocks over the pile of wood, which kills a few of the friendos, Trudy and Otis. Um, but I think he
Is that the
stops his
shopman and the
shop man, and there's like an older lady one, and
The
stops.
shop is it a shop guy I love that. That was I can't remember what it was, something air conditioning unit or something
Yeah, yeah,
swooped
yeah.
down from the roof and
yeah,
just
just annihilates
crushes his
him. And
head.
then the waitress.
I think Glenn stops his car so that Cole, even though he's hanging, is like perched on top of the car.
Oh yeah, that was like he obviously got like a perfect as he was driving in because like
Yeah.
obviously you're smashing through a wall. You don't know you're going to have the
No.
opportunity to park under a boy to stop him hanging.
Make sure you park under this boy and kill these two people. Um, Quinn Quinn escapes into a room full of friendo costumes, all different shapes and sizes. Remember, so whoever does the sewing. What word am I thinking of? Tailoring.
Seamstress,
The
the
seamstress. Whoever the
tailor.
seamstress is in Kettle Chips, Kettle Springs. Uh,
And that's when I started thinking that in my review I mentioned that it started to feel like the village then, a slightly more
yeah.
demented version of the village, when they find the costumes of those creatures that
Oh
hang around.
yeah.
It's
So,
very hot fuzz, isn't it? All
It's
for the
hot fuzz.
greater
I was
good.
saying hot fuzz. I was getting hot fuzz vibes. The village definitely. This kind of thing
Any
where
crusty jugglers?
bloody crusty jugglers. Keeping like traditions in place, ruling with fear. I guess. Um,
what I
See,
will say, it's a bit of a short-sighted plan because I'm not sure how you're going to continue the legacy of your town if you kill everybody under 40.
that's true.
This is one of the big questions for me. Lots of films like this is, at the end, how, once you've done, how are you going to clean up? What do
Yeah.
you tell people?
Mm.
It, and I
Oh,
know, you never find that out because nobody's interested in that part of the movie. But it's just like,
remember that
how do
day
you,
that
how do
loads of
you
those
clean
teenagers
up?
just died?
Yeah. How do you clean up after all that? Any horror film where there's lots of
Yeah.
murders, how do you clean up? Because they do seem to clean up quite quickly
Mm.
Yeah,
after this.
everything's back to normal. But
Yeah.
before we get there, so she's hiding, Quinn is hiding, and amongst all of the costumes, right? And unfortunately, uh, for the sheriff, he's searching for her, and he's got a cattle prod. He's already done some electrocuting on her earlier on, right? So
He's already done a bit of electrocuting on her. Yes, he
that's when
has.
he was like torturing her slightly while they were doing their monologue. How does she get it off him? Does he get the wrong costume or something like
She's
that?
dressed up, isn't she, behind him?
But he assumes that she's in one of them and he just chooses the wrong one.
Yeah, I think that's it. She appears behind him.
She doesn't like Scooby Doo and pretend to be like a barber. Sit down for your haircut, mate. And it's like,
But no, he gets the wrong one. She gets it off him somehow, but she shoves it in his bloody mouth,
yeah,
killing him. Um, Hill uses Glenn's car to escape.
the
Rust, oh
final
yeah, Rust
friendo
turns up.
standing before them. Oh yeah, Rust.
Yeah, Rust turns up, shoots, and this is when like Cole, because he uses the car, Cole's hanging. Rust shoots the noose. What great aim! Um, and Cole drops, and I think this is around where the two friends, Rust and Cole, finally admit their feelings for each other and kiss. I've just realized, what are the names of the two characters in True Detective season one? Or what's the name of one of the characters? His name is the character played by Matthew McConaughey is Rust Cole.
There you go.
There you bloody
Coincidence?
go. I've got it. I knew it. I knew it felt familiar. I knew it felt familiar. But there we go. That's got to be legit, isn't it? I hope so.
Yeah. And then the
Um,
only person
Yeah.
left is the put upon teacher, sick to death of people photoshopping his normal man, normal sort of Dan Castellaneta head onto onto a buff body,
Onto a
and it's
buff
over
body.
the edge.
How dare you false advertise me on a dating app?
Yeah,
Thieving.
and he's the only one that's standing between them.
Mm.
Arguably, their plan has been foiled and they've been defeated, but they think in for a penny, in for a pound. Let me use this opportunity to learn to drive stick.
Yeah.
Encouraged by my father, I'm going to run this man down.
Run this man down like he's a balloon full of blood as well. He's
Yeah,
literally gonna.
I'm absolutely going to toxic waste RoboCop that man. You burst
Exactly.
him.
It was
Amazing.
it was quite spec. I mean, they weren't even going that fast, I don't think, were they? It was he was
Yeah.
I mean, he was must have been at death's door anyway,
12.
like that.
Yeah, he was on
And
his
He
health was
needed to
already
go.
his health was already on red. You know, you've done so much more damage
Yeah.
versus how many HP he had left.
That
It's
clown
like,
costume was
And
just holding it together.
yeah, I
maybe
mean
similar
because they've
to
unmasked as well, so they've all been like all masked killers in films. You take that mask off, the debuffs are huge that you're gonna get.
similar to From Dusk Till Dawn as well. Maybe like where the vampires were soft, maybe Frendos are soft as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you just
and
have to
full
drive
of
into them a bit.
and full of custard. They explode.
Soft and full of custard. Um, yeah, and that's the end of that. We go forward to 1 year later. Glenn is running for mayor, as happens. I'm the only doctor in this town, but now there's an opening. The mayor's dead. I'll go for that. Quinn,
Double duty. I'll remain the only doctor,
yeah,
obviously.
God, the bloody
I
admin.
have Dr. Mayor.
He gets 4 hours sleep a night. That's quite a lot. Quinn is leaving for college. Cole and Rust turn up. They come to say goodbye. Um, and as Quinn drives off, she finds a Bay Pen music box in the back seat. But guess what? We're not here to hint at future sequels. She's unbothered, so she throws the box out the window and says, "See you later, town of kettle chips,
Have I,
Missouri."
have I misremembered? They give her a going away present, which is like a telescopic baton for
Yeah.
muggings.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a good present. That is a
Yeah. But,
telescopic baton. There we go
there's
then.
definitely there's definitely yeah, well, obviously there's going to be a sequel because there's another book, and obviously
Yeah.
Mayor
Yeah.
Hill did escape.
I'd be up for that as well.
Gathering he probably comes back to
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, he's got to contest the election, I imagine. He's going to be there.
Yeah. Hang on a minute.
I mean, the mayor from Jaws is still the mayor in the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's forgive and forget. People make
Big-
mistakes all the time.
He's like, oh, come on. Will you stop going on about that? Will you stop doing
You
our
kill
town
one
down?
generation of teenagers.
Yeah. Just
Perfect.
taking a look at the subtitles for the sequel. Clown in the Cornfield 2, Frendo lives.
Mm.
So that's what's happening. And then Clown in the Cornfield 3, 2024's The Church of Frendo.
Oh, it goes deeper. It goes deeper. It goes into the religious sects, does it? Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More to come.
I'll be in for more. Okay, so before we rate the film, let's play a little bit of name game. As you've listened to the show, Mark, I'm sure you're aware of how this works. So we'll give you a synopsis. Sounds a little bit like Clown in a Cornfield, but it may be slightly different in terms of a title. Have you got any, Andy?
I have, Ben. Have you got a synopsis for
Feel
me
free to
begin
chip
with?
in if you've got some as well, Mark, of course.
Yeah, you're a penman, you know.
A fading midwestern town in which Frendo the Clown emerges as a terrifying scourge. It's a weird synopsis, that is.
Okay. In a fading Midwest town, a former Prime Minister and Chancellor emerges as a terrifying scourge.
A former Prime Minister and Chancellor.
Yes.
Can I guess?
Yeah?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Is it a Brown in a
It's,
cornfield?
I went for the full Gordon Brown in a
Gordon Brown in a
cornfield.
cornfield. A faded Midwestern town in which Frendo the Clown, a symbol of bygone success, reemerges as a terrifying scourge, but he just stands in the field looking cross.
Brown in a cornfield.
Frown in a cornfield, correct.
My next one is in a fading Midwestern town, an attack helicopter goes down behind enemy lines, and it's up to Jeremy Renner to save the day.
Black Hawk
Black Hawk
Down.
Down
In a cornfield, correct.
Is Jeremy Renner in that?
I think so.
I don't know. So I don't want to throw cold water on your clue. I won't even Google it. What's the point? Don't want to prove you wrong. I don't know. Mark, have you got any at all?
I've got one which might be a bit of a reach, but was inspired by listening to one of the previous podcasts. So
It's always a
reaches
reach.
are absolutely allowed.
It's always a reach.
in a fading Midwestern town, a psychopathic clown fed up with mindless killing changes career into the adult film industry and stars in a number of increasingly unfulfilling sexual encounters.
Okay, so it's something in a
I mean,
cornfield.
it's something in a porn field. In the porn field, or in a porn field. What was the first part again?
So he's a psychopathic clown fed up with mindless killing, changes careers into the adult film industry.
Also, is it still clown in a porn field? You've just changed the one word, or is it a particular clown? Is it Art the Clown in a porn field? Moves into the porn field.
I haven't changed that much, to be honest. And I'm not sure even the names properly. So
I don't think that was dubious at all. I think that was absolutely textbook.
Wait, clown in a porn film.
Yeah.
Clown in a porn film. They exist. They exist.
Sure probably somebody
I'm sure they do.
Yep, they exist. Any more, Andy?
Couple more, Ben. Specifically on in a faded Midwestern town, a Saturday morning version of everyone's favorite popular wrestling show comes to town to try and change the fortunes.
A Saturday morning version of everybody
SmackDown
in a cornfield.
SmackDown in a cornfield. I know it's only Saturday morning here. It's Thursday night there.
Yeah. Saturday morning, 11 a.m. on Sky One.
cut to JR every time someone's going to get hit by a chair. Or just pause for a second.
A faded Midwestern town in which Frendo the Clown, a symbol of bygone success, reemerges as a terrifying scourge. But he's wearing a dress.
Gown
in a cornfield.
Gown in a cornfield.
Correct.
There you go. in a fading midwestern town, a inexplicably bald little boy turns up and has a really hard time. He's quite depressed. He says good grief all the time. And the intergenerational trauma is caused because none of the adults can be understood. Their voices all just sound like wah, 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 wah.
Charlie Brown in a cornfield.
Charlie Brown in a cornfield. Very
An
good.
inexplicably bold little boy. We're talking about,
Yeah.
we're talking about me for a second. I think that might be it. Any more?
I do know the couple. Ben.
Oh,
So,
Jesus Christ, Andy. Go on then.
I will also own a mistake before we get tweets. It was Josh Hartnett, of course, that
Yeah.
saved Black Hawk Down in a cornfield. So in this film, in a fade in Western town, one fellow, Michael Douglas, has had a bloody enough. And when he can't order a breakfast after 11:30, he goes on a massive rampage just in that arable farming area.
Falling down in a cornfield.
Yeah, falling down
in a cornfield.
in a
What a
cornfield.
film that is.
And then the last one, I've had just enough time to look up who the actor is. Of course, it's not going to show me the cast and crew. So, in a come on, IMDb, you piece of work. Let me see. Oh, there he is. That's his last name. In a fading Midwestern town, British comedian turned famous actor stars as a murder mystery solving vicar and solves provincial crimes. Mark Williams.
Father Brown.
Father Brown in a
Father
cornfield.
Brown.
Three people famously called Brown: Charlie, Gordon, Father.
A faded Midwestern town in which Frendo decline, a symbol of bygone success, reemerges as a terrifying scourge. And his theme tune is that terrible song that everybody sings in the pub about having your knees up.
Mother Brown in a cornfield.
Knees up, Mother Brown in a cornfield. I couldn't think of a better clue for that. Sorry.
My last one that I will end on is after an ill-advised sleepover where people actually haven't got the proper equipment happens, a faded town, someone's trying to clean up. Someone's only gone and left their duck-feathered duvet out in the farmland.
Eider down.
Eider down in a cornfield.
I don't know what that is. Why is that type of?
It's like a doona.
Oh, right, like a doona.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Okay, one last one then.
Go on
In a
then.
faded Midwestern town, a lonely psychopathic clown. Actually, I can't do this one.
Lonely psychopathic clown.
I'm just trying to think. I can't do this without using the word cornfield. So yeah, we'll have a psychopathic clown sitting around in farmland, doing anagrams.
Countdown in the cornfield.
Oh, down in the cornfield.
Yes.
Very good. And he has 30 seconds to do them.
Exactly.
Sometimes he does numbers.
So, occasionally. Right. Okay. Clown in a cornfield. That's it. That was fun. Let's rate the film. Rate good or rate bad. A to F. Pluses and minuses are allowed. Mark, where do you sit on Clown in a Cornfield, the movie?
Do you know, I quite enjoyed it, and in my review, I was kind of it's fairly predictable in many ways. You can see where the twists are coming, but it uses all the familiar tropes, and it's what you want from a slasher. I think it's pitched just right, and I think it works really well. So whether you find it really predictable or not, or if you see the twists coming or not, I don't think it really matters because it's just got all the elements you want from a decent, fun slasher. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. So I think I'd give it a B.
Very
I think that's
nice.
fair. I was going to go for a B as well, just because all the films I mentioned that it kind of reminds me of are all films that I have enjoyed. So there's this kind of like brand of like Midwestern slasher that's from the last like 5 years or so that I do enjoy. Like again, it doesn't rip up the rule book, it doesn't create anything brand new. It's all I guess kind of predictable, but I have fun along the way. So
As I say, I think there was elements of it that you could see coming, and then other elements,
Yeah.
like the Cole and Russ relationship wasn't obvious, and you sort of that starts to creep through, and
mm,
you've got the dead mum and estranged father and daughter, and you expect that to go one direction, and actually they don't really
mm,
use that much. It's not her character arc. It's
no.
Probably Cole and Russ that have the character arc.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
it plays with expectations a little bit, in that way.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, a B for me as well, I think.
Yeah, I go. We just had a hard Monday, everybody. I'm going to go a soupçon lower than the two of you. I'm going to go for a B minus, much the same as you. I enjoyed a lot of it. I think maybe the characterization might just fall a little short for me to go on to a full B. And it's what I said at the beginning. I think we all know we're suffering from huge generational disconnects, but actually, I think, people do manage to relate to each other better than you might think. And I find that I might have been a little bit more surprised with the reveal of the people, that it's the people of the town that are doing it,
Mm.
if they weren't all really so overtly angry with each other before even a single killing happened. If they weren't like waving their fist going, I will literally murder you, children.
I'll dress up as a
Um,
clown and I'll kill you.
I'll kill you. Don't be surprised if that happens really shortly.
Yeah.
I would have liked maybe be a little bit brave and make our heroes quite obnoxious to the adults, but in a way that it is unaware. Because so much of that as well, like I think some of the intergenerational strains we see aren't necessarily caused in the real world by people deliberately trying to get each other. In some cases, they are. But I think in a lot of cases, people do just wind each other up in close proximity, particularly in these close-knit communities, just by living their lives. Like I would have liked to have seen, a little bit where the kids are quite surprised that the older generations find them quite as obnoxious as they do.
Mm.
And or maybe have something that us as the viewer go, oh, maybe I'm siding a little bit with it. Maybe not so much as they get, we want them
Chopped
to
up.
be murdered, but a little bit like, oh, you are kind of out of line. Like maybe do things like maybe they are doing a deliberate prank that causes the ruination of the festival. I think we could have really dived into making that a little bit more complex. But
Mm.
gory kills, funny lines. Um, I will absolutely watch this again. I will absolutely turn up for the sequel. I'm tempted to even go on in on the books as well next time I'm
Yeah,
away and have time for a bit more reading.
yeah, I think I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
There we
it's
go
definitely
then.
made me want to read the book. And those are the two questions, I think, Andy. It's like, would I watch it again? And am I bothered about a sequel? And it's a yes for both of those. I definitely
Yeah,
be up for seeing a
that's
sequel.
good.
It was good fun.
Glad
Yeah,
to
I think
hear
my
it.
big test is like, would I Sinners is an example. I told my wife who doesn't rush to see every horror movie, she should go and see Sinners at the cinema because that troubled my top of the list for the year. I
Mm.
told her that I enjoyed this film. I told her that if it's ever, when it's on streaming, absolutely she'd sit down and she'd enjoy this. But will I be saying to her when it has full release across the UK cinemas this week, like, oh, we'll go out and we'll watch this again. We'll rush out to do it. If she was a big horror fan, I'd say you'd enjoy it. But because she's not and she can take or leave them, will I say, actually, you'll really enjoy this, go? I'm not going to stick my film choosing reputation neck on the line with her on that one.
Mm.
But still very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go then. Mark, thanks for joining us. Where can our listeners find more of you online? Of course, your website, if you'd like to just.
I'm the person that doesn't remember any of their social media handles. I mean, if you Google Dark Mark Writing,
Yeah.
you'll find me. And I think I'm mostly on sort of Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky, where there'll be variations. I think Dark Mark on Blue Sky, Dark Mark Writing on Instagram,
Mm.
probably just Mark Walker on Facebook, actually.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I've probably
Gonna
got a
have
link to the
to
website. So yeah.
just before we finish, Mark, a little aside for those not on the video version of this. I have to stop for a little fashion report. I like your little giraffe baby from Eraserhead t-shirt.
Oh,
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
that's what
a
it is, isn't it? I was
yeah
racking my brains what that was for a while. Yeah.
birthday present from my daughter last
Very
year.
nice.
So yeah, again, probably an Etsy special, but that's
Um,
another one that's on the list to watch with them. Uh,
oh wow, yeah,
in the right frame of
that's a big
mind.
undertaking, isn't it? I'll put the links to your website and everything else in the show notes. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thanks. Yeah,
Um,
thanks for having me. It's been good fun.
yeah, it's been a good one. So
Yeah.
thanks
Thanks for
everybody.
joining us.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast and Rusty Quill for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review. Head over to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Threads. We're on all of those websites, posting all the bloody time. Horrorhangout.co.uk is for everything in one place. And next week, we'll be covering another new release, Final Destination Bloodlines, with returning guest Ashley B. Red.
Looking forward to it.
Hell yeah, looking forward to it. Nice one.
Love an accident. Looking forward to him.
I bloody love an accident, I do, mate. It's my favourite. But
Right.
yeah,
In the meantime, everybody, I think, Mark, I think you gave the best advice this week. If you could avoid clowns, avoid cornfields, especially avoid both together. If you have to encounter them,
yeah.
make sure you do so separately.
Take a
If not,
shotgun.
yeah, exactly. Have a shotgun. Don't hesitate to use it. And
There's a
give
Venn
traditions a
diagram.
rest if you bloody could. Come on, it's not worth it.
There's a Venn diagram of clown and cornfield. Just never get into that little section in the
Never
middle.
find yourself in the middle
Avoid
without
it
a
at all
shotgun
costs.
or a cattle prod.
Right. Thanks again. See you later. See you
Bye for
next
now,
week.
everybody. Bye.
Take care.